Something like this. Hit it.
The Roger Report live morning show, weekdays at 9 a.m.
Say y'all, I was on Roger's panel a few times and I couldn't take it. The heat. I got out the kitchen. It was hot. I was sweating. I had to get out.
He's Roger, and he's right.
Check this out.
We can live or die. You choose. I have spoken to you a lot of times in hatred and anger, and you have not heard me. Well, you had better hear me today. If you won't listen to me when I make an appeal for the Negroes because you have no concern for the Negroes, listen to me when I make an appeal for America. You claim you love America. Well, we love America. But you are driving us back and you are making a Samson out of us, and we are going to pull down the pillars. And then you think we have no right to ask for something? Is it too much to ask you to grant us human dignity? Should we be put down and shot to death for this request? If so, you can aim your guns. What the hell do you think we care about dying if you're going to deny us the right to live?
Good morning, folks, and welcome to another edition of the Roger Report Live, the best show on social media. If you are new to the channel, go ahead and take a moment out to hit that like button, because this is where you're going to find the best content on social media, and you don't have to worry about it because you're going to have me right here to make sure that happens. And if you've already been coming to the channel for a while, then go ahead, hit that like button, because you already know what time it is. And you know that this is where you're going to get the best content on social media. It's not a mystery to you at this point. You've seen other people do it. You've seen other people do it well, but what you have not seen is anyone do it quite the way I do it. So make sure you hit that like button, and everyone, yes, everyone, take a moment out to share the content, y'all. There are so many people who need to get great content like this, and it's just a small thing you can do to help the world be a better place. And isn't that what we want at the end of the day? Don't we want the world to be a better place? Of course we do. So share the content out. Share it through your social media. Share it through word of mouth, or even text someone's phone. But do what you got to do to help spread the word. All right, folks. Today we are here to talk about a very interesting subject in a very different context than a lot of people will ever even want to speak of it on, because it gets touchy. And sometimes you got to do what's touchy to get the point out, okay? Okay, you got to do what's a little bit touchy to get the point out, all right? All right, now, y'all, today we are going to deal with Black women, the health risk a lot of people don't think about. Yes, y'all, we're going to approach it from that manner. The health risk a lot of people do not talk about. And of course, we as always over here at the Roger Report Live, we deal with stuff in a very mature way. You know, we're not here just to make fun of people. We're here to help solve problems. Okay, we're here to help solve problems. So we're going to deal with this in a way that it needs to be talked about in. Yes, Black women, the health risks a lot of people don't think about. Yes, we're going to deal with them from a health risk perspective. Now, Black women, don't panic. Don't panic. It don't mean we don't love you. It don't mean we just finna talk about you bad or something like that. No. We're just going to deal with some realities. That's all. All right, we're going to deal with some realities. But before we get into this, first of all, let me say shout out to all the people who give views on a regular basis to the channel. Shout out to each and every one, because y'all the fam at the end of the day. Shout out to all the people who leave comments after the stream. Those things help with the algorithm, which help grow the channel. Shout out to everybody who hypes the videos up every chance they get. Yo, again, you're helping grow things by doing that. Okay, appreciate it. Shout out to everyone who hits that like button. And remember, y'all, regardless of how old your video is, when you come across, it's fine to do that stuff. It's absolutely fine to do that stuff. All right. And shout out to everyone, okay, who becomes a financial contributor over here at the Roger Report Live. That is going above and beyond the call of duty. And I definitely appreciate it. And y'all allow me to do things that I just could not do without you. So shout out to every single person who's ever contributed to the Roger Report Live. All money on the wood is good at the Roger Report Live. And I appreciate each and every one of y'all as financial contributors. And I want to say shout out to my main man, Elder Blood. He is the sponsor of today's stream. Shout out to you, my brother. Shout out to you. I appreciate your continued support. And that's big time to me. That's big time to me. Shout out to Elder Blood. Appreciate you, brother. Appreciate you. All right. And let's get into it. And well, right before we get into it, let me give a couple shout outs to some of the first people to check in this morning. Y'all know how it goes over here at the Roger Report Live. There can only be one. And shout out to my main man, Afro National is the one. Shout out to you, my brother. Shout out to you. Glad to see you, brother. Glad to see you. Okay, well, I should say Afro Merchant, as you did change your name. Oh. But I guess either one fits, so I guess it's okay. I guess it's okay. But shout out to you, brother. Glad to see you here. Glad to see you here, of course. Shout out to my main man, right behind him, the one, the only, the pit master himself, Chef Mike's Roundtable coming through right behind him, Always good to see you here. And shout out to him and the rest of the pit crew. Always great to have you guys here. My main man, Trail Bentley, representing right behind him. Hashtag long live the habitual line steppers. Hashtag Negroes in the wilderness. Hashtag dignity over vagina. Hashtag Al Gore's babies. Hashtag Hell Hydra. Shout out to you, brother. Shout out to you. Ton of runners in the building. Great to see you, my friend. Great to see you. Inspired Truth Broadcasters here. Shout out to you. Shout out to you. We got Shark Sims in the building as well. Great to see you, brother. Great to see y'all. And of course, for those of y'all who are in the know, a lot of times, not every time, but a lot of times there will be links in the description that you want to check out before we get into the subject matter. And I did drop some links, y'all. I did drop some links. And as you can see, there's some healthcare concerns that go on when dealing with Black women. And a lot of men need to understand these are concerns that you got to deal with at some point. You have to deal with. All right. Now, Black men, from a collective, I mean, we use more condoms than anybody else. So we are the most protected out here. But, you know, pray. That's all I can tell you, man. That's, you know, pray. Eat your vitamins. Eat the vegetables. What how cold you say? You gotta, take your vitamins and whatnot. You got to do all that type of stuff, because if you are going to be engaging in situations where you're dealing with Black women, you got some things that you really need to consider. Okay. Now, if ain't nobody going to say it, I'm going to say it. And I know, maybe in certain spaces you have people who don't want to say it out loud because they feel bad or they feel some type of way. See, look, the truth is I love Black women, and that's just real talk. Okay. And I accept that I love Black women, even though they do things that I don't agree with. I accept that I do love them, but is the way you handle your love toward a person is what you also can control. It's okay to love them, but you still got to deal with very real things. And just because you love somebody does not mean they have an excuse to do things they're not supposed to do. And it does not mean you can't do what you need to do. Y'all, I've been saying, and I'm going to keep on saying, as Black men, we proverbially have to look both ways before we cross the street. We can't afford to be just running out into the street, y'all. Other people, they feel way more comfortable in places like America that they could just jet out there in the street and don't worry about what's coming. We as black men, we got to look both ways. Okay, we got to look both ways. We cannot afford to be out here slipping sometime. And when we slip, people just get us and they care nothing about it. And that's just real talk. Okay. Now, shout out to all my people who are listening from around the world. Appreciate y'all and love y'all just as much. Don't ever think you're not included. And shout out to everybody in the replay game. Don't ever think you're not included either. Okay. Don't ever think y'all not included, because I appreciate every single one of y'all. And that's just real talk. So think about this, y'all. Think about this. You as a black man, you live your life. We in general want to live long. Okay. Most people want to live long. Okay. Now, from a religious perspective, my belief is you can only get 120 years. That's it. Okay. You're only going to get 120 years. All right. Now, they ain't guaranteed years. They what could happen. And as y'all know, the way y'all see people dying, a lot of people don't make no 120 years. Okay. A lot of people don't make it. You know, a lot of folks, we feel fantastic if we know somebody who got into the 90s. Okay. And as black men, you know, we seem to die earlier than a lot of other people in this country. And to me, it does make some level of sense, because you have to think about things in ways and think about some things that other people don't. Well, you got to think about things in ways other people don't have to. And then you got to think about things that other people don't have to. And I don't know if y'all know it, but if you start becoming stressed, stress can eventually physically affect your body. You know, you talk about mental stress, it can physically affect you. All right. It's a lot of people who are sick because of what's going on in their head mentally. All right. And it basically has an effect on them. Now, shout out to the Great Black Reset. I appreciate the super chat, my brother. And thank you for helping me get off to a good start. Appreciate that big time. Now, he says we are definitely here to make fun of people. He's we are definitely here to make fun of people. I guess he's correcting me. No, we definitely here to make fun of people. Well, I guess that's what he gonna do. You know, he a grown man. What am I gonna tell him? Okay, he a grown man. What am I gonna tell him? He can't. What am I gonna tell him? Okay. Shout out to you, my brother. Shout out to you. If that's what you here to do, then that's what you here to do. Okay. Shout out to you, my brother. Shout out to Elder Blood, the sponsor of today's stream. Appreciate you big time. Appreciate you big time. He says, since Shaka Zulu and chattel slavery, black women, the most defiant, ungrateful, and unfaithful women in the world, don't have warriors because they always destroyed them. The burning house MLK talked about. I'm gonna say shout out to you, my brother. Shout out to you. And you know what? It's their own fault at the end of the day. I personally don't believe in pushing blame to other people who didn't have anything to do with it. Okay, didn't have anything to do with it. So I'm with you. It's their own fault. Okay, it is what it is. Okay, it is what it is. I'm with you 100% on that one. Okay, now, y'all, I want a lot of black folks to think about the fact. Now, I understand we love black women, and that love is gonna be there because it's natural to love something that looks like you. All right, it's natural for you to love something that looks like you. It's unnatural for you not to love something that looks like you. All right, that's just an unnatural thing. All right, so black men, we're going to have a general love for black women, but we need to understand we got to control that love and make sure we are not making poor choices overall, because the choices that you make can affect you, but they also can affect, you know, other people you love. They can affect your neighborhood. They can affect your community. They can affect your city. They can affect your country. So we got to think about things in a certain kind of way. And dealing with black women, which I'm not saying you don't deal with black women. I'm saying be realistic on how you deal with black women. Y'all, I've personally been blessed enough that I've never had to suffer through having an STD. And I thank God for that. I do thank God for that. I've never had to actually suffer through an STD. All right. Now, there are people who make a lot of claims about Black women and STDs and how in certain places that their numbers have been on the rise. And I want y'all to know, if y'all looked at the links in the description, okay, so I got these links in the description about health. There's some health stuff going on. I want y'all to notice how old some of that stuff is. Okay, all that stuff ain't just recent. Now, the one that they were talking about, COVID, yeah, that was like 3 years ago. Okay, but those links started from 10 years ago. Okay, they started from 10 years ago. I'm saying, if you look at how YouTube, make report something being old, because that's how how they do it. The stuff is from, it was posted 10 years ago. Now, who knows how old it was before it got posted, but those posts were made. Well, one was made from all the way from 10 years ago. So there's been this steady increase in Black women and STDs. All right. Now, why do Black women get so many STDs? Now, let's be realistic, y'all. It's easier for a woman to catch an STD than it is for a man. That's how it normally goes. Because men, we're pretty much doing more inputting than women are. Okay? You have a phallus, and if no one's using sexual protection, okay, if you're not using condoms, a man is shooting something inside of a woman. And if you shoot stuff inside of a woman that carries some form of disease, it's just easier for the woman to catch it. So that is the truth. And, a lot of people don't really look at things that we really need to look at. Because, of course, if you talk to women about catching STDs, all they're going to do pretty much is just say, oh, it's some guy fault. But we really need to examine, why do Black women get so many diseases? All right. Because a lot of Black women, as I've said plenty of times, the Black women as a collective just don't have standards when it comes to who they're going to sleep with. They just don't have standards. Let's get that real and out the way. And when you deal with a community of women who have no standards, what does that mean? It means basically anybody can have sex with them. Okay? That's what that means. A lot of men, we talk about stuff and we try to make excuses for stuff, and we try to justify certain things, and we try to put logic on stuff that sometimes has no logic to go with it. Because when you deal with women, everything is not coming from a logical place. I'm not saying you can't use logic to decipher certain things, but everything when it comes to women does not come from a logical place. They just do a lot of stuff simply for emotions. And I've told y'all time and time again, Black women care about the image more than anything else. Okay? Even their own health. And you got to ask yourself, why they get diseases like that? How come when diseases come up, they get it more than anybody else? Well, there are some factors that people don't really think about. Y'all, who likes to mess with men who've been to prison the most? Okay? Think about that, y'all. Just think about that question. Which group of women in America likes to deal with men who've been in prison the most? Which group of women likes to deal with men who have been to prison the most? Because it's not like women don't deal with men that go to prison. But who likes to deal with them the most? And what you will probably have come to your mind is Black women. Okay? That's probably what you will have come to your mind. See, y'all got to understand, women, from an emotional standpoint, they don't like to be seen as losers. Now, I've told y'all time and time again, if a woman makes it to her 30th birthday and she's not married, she's a loser. officially. That does not mean she wasn't a loser before she made it to 30 years old. It's official at this point. I don't even have to pretend it's something else. You just a plain old loser. You 30 years old, ain't never got married. You a loser. But losers make decisions. Yeah. And there's a lot of black women who pursue men who are serving time in prison. Now, a lot of y'all would say, well, why would she do such a thing? You got to understand, from an emotional standpoint, women don't want to have to admit that no guy really wants them. So they will talk to a guy that's in prison. They'll do the whole pen pal stuff and all that, put money on the books and all that, because they can't admit to themselves that nobody wants them. Now, it's different if you was messing with the man before he went to prison. Okay, that's different. I'm not even talking about those people. Okay, you was with a man and for some reason he ended up going to prison. No, they will start new relationships with someone who's already locked up. Someone that they've never actually touched before. Someone that they've never even slept with yet. They don't sleep with him for the first time until after he gets out of prison. Okay? Black women do stuff like this. All right? And a lot of black women like guys who were formerly in prison because they believe that they will be granted a level of control that they cannot get with a man who doesn't have a probation officer. And they like that idea. Black women in most cases, black women are still looking for black men that they can control. They want a compromised man. They want a guy to be doing something illegal, so he might go to jail and might end up in prison. And she has some leverage to say, I'm going to tell on you and make this happen to you if you don't do what I want you to do. Women like that type of leverage. Okay? A woman likes a man who doesn't come across as being that smart because she thinks he's an easier person to manipulate. If he's smart, how do I manipulate him? And a lot of black men, they really do believe that black women like quote unquote thugs, okay? Or they like certain versions of compromised men because that's what they just like. No, that they're looking for who they can control. They're not looking at these guys as I respect these guys. They're not looking at them saying he's a great man and I respect what he's doing. No, they're just looking for who they can gain control over. And a lot of people, we think they like those guys. No, they don't like them guys any more than they like the guys that are productive, respectable, functional, and believe in black men's leadership. The type of people, the group I belong to, they like those guys just as little as they like us. All right? Why? Because they're seeking out men that they can control. And once you understand that most black women are looking at things from a white supremacist perspective, because they are white supremacists, they have no idea how to control the man who doesn't care about them in a certain way. Now, someone like myself who don't buy into black women's leadership, there's certain things that you can tell me that just ain't gonna mean nothing to me. But if you get a guy he needs for a black woman to be a leader, she can tell him stuff and he'll do certain things because he buys into stuff that I don't buy into. It's that simple at the end of the day. Okay? He will do stuff from a perspective that I just won't. If black women understand if they can get someone to feel sorry for them, they will do things for them because they feel sorry for them. And sometimes this will even include illnesses or diseases, whatever. There's a lot of black men who are going to have sympathy for a woman who caught an STD. Now, let's be realistic about this, y'all. If a woman catches an STD, she's going to blame a man. You know, in her mind, I slept with this man. It's his fault that I caught an STD. Now, the truth is it's her own fault. When you get an STD, it's because you decided to involve yourself in sexual behavior. Now, some people gonna say, "Well, what if you didn't know the person? What if you didn't know the person had something when you slept with?" Sometimes the person doing sometimes neither one of them know that something is afoot. It is what it is. Okay, sometimes neither party knows. Now, at the end of the day, y'all, this ain't stuff to particularly joke about in a certain context, because let's keep it real. Anybody can catch an STD. You can't look at a person and tell all the time. Sometimes you got signs that show. Sometimes a person just, you look at them and there's no way that you're going to know they have anything. It just is what it is. We're all playing games of Russian roulette when it comes down to it, which is one of the reasons we should be able to find people to marry, and then you ain't got to be involved in all that extra stuff with all these other people who might be carrying stuff. You know, people respecting the marriage will protect you from all that extra stuff in most cases. All right. But Black men, we got to think about Black women and the risks that they pose to our actual health. Okay. They do pose a risk. Now, I'm not saying you're going to stop messing with Black women altogether. I'm just saying, do think about the risk that's available when you deal with Black women. Now, I'm going to tell you this, and it's something that people don't really think about and factor into, but I've been saying this for years, and I'm going to say it again. Okay. That's the unfortunate part about losing challenge. You got to say stuff over and over again, but it's okay. If I got to say it again, I'm going to say it better the next time. When a group of women deal with men who have been to prison, I'm not just talking about jail, y'all. I'm talking about prison. You done been to prison. You done been convicted. You're going upstate somewhere or whatever, or off to a different state to go serve prison time. In prison, everybody ain't that nice to each other. There are men in prison with STDs who have sex with other men in prison who get STDs. And that prison population eventually gets out. They come back in regular society. Now, the thing is, you a man that went to prison, you walking around, you done got you an STD while you was in prison. Yeah, yes, exactly what I'm implying. Yes, some man has sex with him to give him an STD. But sometimes men are being forced to have sex in prison. It's not that they wanted to have sex with a man. They just didn't have no choice. It is what it is. That's an ugly side to going to prison. You ain't got no choice sometimes. Sometimes you get jumped, and it is what it is what it is, as they say. It just is what it is. You gonna be made to have sex with other men. You know? I know some people think about it, well, you know, where it's gay dudes in there. Well, everybody ain't necessarily gay, but that don't mean you didn't have sex with a man. See, you gotta think about it in realistic terms. The fact that you not gay does not mean that you get to avoid having sex with men. You know, shout out to Afro National. He said, I thought this was a family show. Laugh out loud. And it is. And as a family, you need to make sure your family understands. If you go to prison, sex ain't gonna necessarily be a choice. Okay? Yeah, you know what? I would want my sons to know that. I definitely want my sons to know that and have a true understanding of it. I'm pretty sure a lot of guys who take some of the risks that they take would think about it a little bit differently if they really truly understood that once you get up in that joint, it ain't about your choice sometimes. You know, it ain't about your choice. You know? And the whole thing is, you know, I'm not saying you ain't gonna have guys that would fight so they don't have to get that booty up. And you can fight, but it don't mean you're gonna win. That's the reality. Okay, that's the reality. Now you may be a guy who don't want every single fight you had in the streets. That does not mean you're gonna win when you get up in there. People already got relationships with each other. People already, they got their own little teams going on. It is what it is. And some guys, they ain't finna serve 10 years without having sex. That's just something they not gonna do. And it is what it is. That's just something they not gonna do. They ain't gonna serve 20 years and not have sex. No, they gonna have sex. Okay, they gonna have sex. Now, who they have it with, that's the question, but they gonna have sex. They not finna serve all that time and not have sex. Just is what it is. And there's guys who are truly present themselves as tough guys in regular society. Because we don't know they've been made to have sex in prison. We don't know that. If you think men are coming out of prison and bragging about the fact that somebody made them bend over and some guy literally made them bust down. I mean, think about this realistically, y'all. If it happened to you, would you get out of prison and brag about the fact that somebody made you bust it wide open? You're a grown man. Okay, people looked at you a certain way before you went to prison. You got caught up in the system. They got you. Okay, they got you red-handed. You get convicted. Okay, but you're a tough guy. But you got convicted. And while you were serving your time, whatever it was, maybe it was 5 years. Okay, maybe you got a sentence, but you only had to serve 5 years. But they made you bust it open since you got there. You've been busting it open for 4.5 years. Okay. Now, thank God you able to get out. Thank God you able to get out. And you rejoin society. But you've been busting it open for 4.5 years. It didn't take them long to figure out you the one. Okay. Sometimes you just coming at people like you. And I know that's a hard thought for some men to understand. Sometimes you just go into prison because people like you. Okay. You coming there, but you got some quote unquote pretty eyes. Okay. Maybe your eyes ain't black or brown like most black men. Okay. Maybe you got some green eyes. Okay. Or maybe you got some really, really light brown eyes. Okay. Really, really light brown. Okay. Everyone here says too many details, Roger. Is it too many? Or is it just how it go down? Is it just how it go down? So, you got them quote unquote pretty thugs that come in there too, y'all. Some of them got long hair. Y'all know with the feminization of black men and things like that been going on. Some guys coming there with some nice long hair. Okay. But see, you got a guy in there, he on a double murder already. He's gonna die in prison. He's already accepted that he's gonna die in prison. It is what it is. He's gonna die there. He's never getting out. And since he done came to terms with the fact that he ain't never getting out, you coming there as a pretty little thug. you sexy man of a thug, you. Yeah, you was terrorizing neighborhoods before you got in. You was terrorizing neighborhoods before you got in. But now you just a pretty little thug, okay? And as a pretty little thug, you're going to do what you got to do to survive. But see, when these guys get out, they not finna brag about the fact that they've been busting open for random guys who was already serving time in prison. And y'all, guess what they going to do with black women? They going to have sex with black women. Because black women going to throw panties at him. Because he served 5 years. He's probably not going to be too quick to say, well, 4.5 years, I was busting it open for the fellas in there. Probably not going to say that part. Okay? He's probably going to skip that part. Okay, he's probably, people gonna ask him how was it. He probably gonna skip that part about how he was the one busting down in prison. And y'all think about it. Just think about it. How many guys, even as your friends, okay, or even as your relative or a guy that you work with, how many guys do you know who've been to prison and have admitted that they had to bust it open for other men? Do you know anybody who admitted that? Okay. They went to prison. Somehow you know them. Maybe they went to your church. Maybe y'all had the same job. Maybe y'all was in some program together. Whatever the case is. Okay. Do you know any guy who admitted that they was making him bust down while he was serving time? Because I don't know any man like that. Okay. I don't know any man who has openly admitted to the fact that he was made to bust it open while he was in prison. Now, black women still like having sex with men who go to prison. And because it's easier for a man to give somebody something, well, it's easier for them to give another man something. Now, that man ends up having sex with a bunch of women when he gets out of prison. Because y'all know how black women love a man who's been to prison because they love compromised men. Okay? Not that they really love him, but, they like dealing with compromised men because she believes he's going to be far easier to manipulate and control. So she going to give him some. And a lot of black women going to do that. Okay? They don't really need to know much else. Just the fact that they were made to serve prison time is enough for black women. They think he's compromised and they view toughness different than men view toughness. So they're willing to have sex with him. So you got a lot of black women who they get diseases and whatnot because they like to deal with guys where it would be more likely that they caught something. But they also deal with guys who ain't been in prison. They deal with regular, everyday, productive men. And that's where you come in. You like a woman. She might like you, but y'all gonna have sex. But she's not gonna tell you, I've been busted open for dudes who go to prison. Okay, I let them hit it raw. Now, y'all, this is something y'all have to really, truly think about. Even though black men, and studies have shown that black men use more condoms than anybody else, that does not mean that black women use condoms more than other groups of people. Okay? It don't mean that. Okay? We might use condoms a whole lot. We buying these condoms, and it is what it is. But you got a lot of sisters out there that do not want you to use a condom. They want to feel it. They want that skin to skin. All right. And then, thank God for social media in certain regards. You got people out here, y'all. There's a lot of women I've seen with this attitude of, since I caught something, I'm going to make sure every guy get it. Because what are they mentally doing? They've been messing with certain groups of men. They ended up catching some STD. But they're not going to take accountability for what they did wrong. They're just going to blame men. So now what they're going to do, they're going to go out there and have sex with every man that they can. They're going to talk to a dude, act like they like a dude, just to have sex with him so they can spread it around. It's a lot of women I've seen who've taken on this attitude. I'm going to have sex with these men so I can give them something. Now, I know some of y'all may say, well, that's illegal now. Y'all think a woman with an STD cares? Think about that, y'all. You really believe any woman with an STD cares that it's illegal to purposely give an STD to a man? Y'all think they really care? Do y'all know how the system operates? And then if you make her a black woman and she's having sex with black men, you think anybody really cares? She out there doing great work as far as a lot of white supremacists is concerned. Well, you got diseases. and you sleeping with a lot of brothers, well, keep on. Keep on keeping on. That is the attitude that they have. They ain't really finna lock her up if she just getting a bunch of black men something. They not finna lock her up. Okay? I'm not saying it can't happen, but there are things that are quote unquote swept under the rug. So as long as she willing to have sex with a bunch of black men, they just gonna pretty much leave her out there. You know? And then you got the thing where as a black man, you might call her, because a lot of black men have integrity. Regardless of what propaganda says, a lot of black men got integrity. So what you do, you done caught you something. You done caught herpes. So what you do, you call her and say, man, I done messed around and got herpes. Now she got herpes the whole time and she know it. But you telling her that you got herpes. What she gonna do? She gonna act surprised. She gonna act like she ain't never knew she had it. And once she act like she didn't know she had it, you gonna assume that she didn't know she had it, or you're gonna assume that it's and how she presents herself. This is a shock, so you're not gonna even report her. Now you don't report her because you didn't know she had it. She acting like she didn't know she had it. Ain't nobody taking nothing to the police. She out here on the loose, still doing it to other guys. Because why would she admit she knew she had it? Because if she admitted to you that she knew she had it, that would be her taking accountability. What black woman about to do that? Now, people have talked about certain areas, how a lot of black women are getting this and getting that. Unfortunately, this is the game they play. Now, again, I thank God I ain't never got nothing. And I'm going to try to live my life without getting anything. I'm shooting for perfect when it comes to never getting a STD. I'm shooting for perfect. Okay, I ain't trying to never have any of them. Not even the ones that are curable. I don't want none of them. All right, I don't want none of them. All right, and that's why sometimes as men you got to walk away. Sometimes I see something with a woman, and I be like, no, I changed my mind. Now, y'all, it is women who get shocked when you, as a man, are about to gauge it with a woman, and then you see something, and you just be like, no. It's a lot of women that get shocked. Shout out to Maggie Thompson, Under the Veil. Always good to see you. Always good to see you. Okay? Yeah, some of them are shocked. Some of them will get mad. Some of them will get angry. I don't care how you respond. If I'm about to have sex with a woman and I see something that I have to second guess and I get up, I don't care what your reaction is going to be. I don't care how mad you get. I don't care nothing about you talking about don't ever come back over here. Do you understand? I saw something that already made me make a decision that I'm never coming back over there. That ship already sailed. Okay, that ship already sailed. When I saw whatever I was about to get myself into, and I changed my mind, it's over at that point. I ain't going back down there again. Man, you got one shot. Okay. You got one shot. Shout out to W Maker. He said, you a trip, Roger. Am I, or am I just being realistic? Okay. Am I a trip, or am I just being realistic? Okay. Man, I ain't never had nothing. I hope to God I never get anything. And I hope to God I don't have nothing already that it just take time for you to find out that you got. I ain't trying to do all that type of stuff. And I'm not going to make fun of anybody who ever got something, because realistically, y'all, any of us could turn up one day and have something. Ain't none of us safe like that. Ain't none of us safe like that. All right. So if I see something and I got to second guess it, and you know what? Hey, I could be wrong. But if I got to second guess it, I'm up. It's that simple to me. Okay. It's that simple to me. I don't need no explanation. Okay. No woman has to tell me anything once I decide I'm out. Okay. I'm not worried about how she gonna take it, y'all. I'm not worried about how she gonna I understand I only got one time to live this kind of life, y'all. Okay. I only got one time to live this type of life. And I'm not trying to live it with an STD. I'm not even trying to temporarily live it with an STD. So even if I'm wrong, I'd rather be wrong and just give it up and be up out of there. Okay. It just is what it is. I ain't got time to play with it. All right. Now I see some of y'all in the chat talking about smell. Well, y'all, the reason, or I'm gonna say part of the reasons why you have different types of smells going on is because a lot of women involve themselves in certain behaviors that wasn't as much back in the day. A lot of women use drugs more. They drink more alcohol. They smoke more in comparison to 30 years ago. Okay. There's more consumption of drugs, alcohol, cigarettes than it was 30 years ago by women. So nowadays, you once you take them draws down, yeah, you might smell something, and it's gonna be a little different than how it was back in the day. Because we gotta understand these are women. Stuff that they put in their bodies are going to affect smell sometime. It just is what it is. Okay, it just is what it is. All right. Now I'm gonna say shout out to the liquor creep. He said, Roger, the day I started traveling and saw how other black women act in the diaspora, I started to change my behavior toward American black women. I no longer pledge my allegiance. Well, I'm gonna say that's a good idea. That's a good idea. You don't need to pledge your allegiance to them. That's for sure. And I have admitted that has been a mistake of mine. I really, really, really thought the black women needed me as a black man, and I need to get out here, have a family with these black women, and all this stuff because of stuff that was being presented from a media standpoint. I really believe that they really wanted good black men, and the problem is they couldn't find them until I started dealing with them. Okay. And now that I have enough experience to know that was never an actual problem for black women. It was never an actual problem. They just like stuff that's bad. It is what it is. Shout out to Elder Blood one more time. He says, I recall growing up, those bad skin, bumpy face, pimple skin black women was always popping cat to everybody. I did not identify them as carriers then. And the thing is, Elder Blood, see, a lot of us have done that. We look at certain women who are not as attractive as other women, and what do? We use them as easy targets to have sex with. Let's be realistic, y'all. I'm not saying every black man, but let's talk about a consensus of black men. What do we do with the women who are more unattractive? You're growing up, you got women who are a little big, so they're not gonna get as much attention as other women. You got women who are not quite as attractive. I've heard terms such as butterface, okay, or y'all know we used to say shit. Well, when it comes to the face, she's shot, all types of terms that we've said about black women who don't quite look attractive. And there's black women who got a body. It's just a face, man. Their face is just, you got to give up on their face. You know what I'm saying? It's just ain't really much they can do. Ain't really much they can do. But their body bad as I don't know what. It just is what it is. And if you can get past the face, you'll dive in, as they say. You'll dive in. You just got to get past their face. And y'all done heard jokes about how sometimes you just got to put a paper bag on, okay? Or you got to hit it from the back all the time because you just don't want to look at her face to face. Sometimes black women got a bad body, but the face is just gone. Okay, it's in a whole different lane. It is what it is. You don't think about those women as carriers. But I'm going to say there had to be a good percentage of them that had become carriers because when they don't get a lot of attention from men, when they get any attention, they take it a different way. And if you accept any attention real quick from men, that means you're going to also accept it from the guys who have something. You're going to also accept it from the guys, and they got something because they was in prison. See, all of it's going to play out to a certain degree. So as black men, you got to be careful. You got to be careful. Okay? It is what it is. Now, I'm going to throw a couple other things in there, y'all, because notice I put in a couple links in the description that wasn't just about somebody catching herpes, COVID, AIDS, but the whole point was STDs in general, because there's other STDs besides that. I put in something about a man who ended up on child support for a baby that he never had. Now, I remember using a clip like this beforehand on the previous channel. I done lost channels if you don't know, but on the previous channel, I remember using a clip like that. Might have possibly used the same clip, but don't know. Now, I don't remember the guy's story 100%, but he ended up serving time. He ended up serving time as a quote-unquote young man. That's what she said in the story. So I think he did something as a kid and he was made to serve time. Now, she said young man because she didn't want to say his age. And y'all got to understand how people present stuff. When a white woman don't say age and she says young man, more than likely he was just a kid. Okay? And he ended up getting caught. I can't guarantee that to you, but more than likely that's what happened. He did something as a minor, he got caught, and now he had to serve some time. So what did a black woman do? Okay? And if you look at the story, it don't it's not even necessary that he even had sex with the woman because he was serving time. So I can't even say he had sex with the woman. All right? But the woman, even though he was literally serving time, put him down as the baby father. Now, why did she put him down as the baby father? Because either she didn't tell the real baby father she's pregnant. She might have figured he ain't going to do nothing. He ain't about nothing. And me telling him about this baby is not going to help me when it comes to him. And maybe she cheated on the man that she actually was having sex with. It's a lot of different reasons for her not to tell a guy that she got pregnant. So there's different reasons black women will, they'll come up in their mind. They just figure this is a good reason and I ain't finna tell nobody nothing. And now she wants to put on some paperwork a father's name so she can receive benefits from the government. So now she done put his name down. This guy's literally serving time. He ain't getting no action. Okay. Well, hopefully he ain't getting no action. You never know what happens once you get in there, but hopefully he was getting no action at all. Hopefully. Now he finds out about the situation and they tell him, no, bro, you a default father. You should have fought your case, but you didn't fight your case. He like, bro, I was doing time myself. She claimed I live at an address I wasn't there, man. I never got no notice. They don't care. Look, we the government. We need to pin this baby on somebody. All right? We need to pin this baby on somebody. It might as well be you. Now, do y'all understand that's a health risk? Think about this, y'all. To threaten a man with prison time is a health risk. And I know a lot of people don't think about it like that. Number one, there's stress. Stress can have a physical effect on you. How much stress is a man under knowing he may go to prison, especially if he has to pay a fine and he ain't got the money? Think about that, y'all. If you ain't got the money, how you gonna pay the fine? You may want to pay a fine, but if you ain't got the money, you're still screwed. You're still screwed. And I don't remember what he had to pay at the time. Now, the only good news about this story, if my memory is correct, I do believe a lawyer did actually step in and help him fight his case pro bono. I do believe that did happen with his particular story. But the thing is, you know, when you have that type of stress going on, because you got to fight a case that ain't got nothing to do with you. Not somebody's going to pin a baby on you. Somebody has already pinned a baby on you. That's a different scenario. Okay, that's a different scenario. The baby is already pinned on you. And the state is saying, look, bro, we don't care about the details. Just come up with this money. And if you don't come up with this money, we willing to lock you up. Because to us, you just another nigga. We don't care. You know, that is stress, y'all. And stress can create physical ailments. And then we got another story about women who use the internet to bring other men toward them so they can kill them. Now, I want y'all to know that last story, and I'm going to give it up to my guest shortly. I'm going to give it up to my guest real. I'm going to make this kind of quick since he done came up. They said they had some guys. A guy came over because he's supposed to meet up with this young lady, right? All right. Matter of fact, let me read this real quick. Shout out to Trail Bentley. Appreciate you, my brother. And shout out to you for the 57-cent tax, the 57-cent Trail Bentley tax. He says in college, started talking to this girl. Before we got physical, found out that her whole friend group of about 5 all got herpes from the same guy. Now, you know what? All I can say is, Trey, I'm glad you found out. I'm definitely glad you found out. You know, but there's a whole other side of stuff like this going on where women are having sex with the same guy. Okay. And they all catching the same thing. This stuff happens. And I'm pretty sure all of them gonna act like it was some guy's fault that they decided to engage in sex with the same guy. This somehow a man's fault that they decided I'm gonna sleep with him. Okay. I want to sleep with him, but somehow it's a man's fault. Okay. Somehow that's a man's fault. Trail say, I'm definitely glad I found out. Me too, brother. Me too. Because that's that package that gonna show up every holiday. Okay. That's that package that shows up every holiday. You ain't no getting rid of that one. Ain't no getting rid of that. So shout out to you, brother. Glad that you found out. You know, but for women, y'all, they just gonna say, well, it's some man's fault. They all decided to sleep with the man. So this wasn't no accident. Okay. So it is what it is. All right. Now, again, we got 2 brothers. Okay. They went to meet up with some ladies that they met online. Well, at least one of them, you know, the brother was probably just there for support or whatever. Okay. Or it might have been, if you got another girl because I'm gonna bring my brother with me, or you know, could have been the other way around. Well, do you have another guy because I'm gonna need my girl with me? Okay, but at least one of them was truly finna hook up with somebody. You know, figure out what was gonna go on between the two. All right, and here go Elder Blood one more time. So let me address this first. He said, Roger, don't mention false paternity. Do you all realize how much and how long black women have put false paternity on God? They made devil's kid and become God's children. I mean, that's a whole different level of stress that they putting on brothers who ain't did nothing with them. And, you know, there have been, unfortunately, plenty of cases where this stuff does happen and they don't even have sex with the man. I mean, Ludacris been through that too. Yo, we got a famous rapper who been through it. Woman he never slept with tried to put a baby on. Okay. And so y'all know that it's nothing to try to put a baby on a man that you actually slept with, because they try to put babies on men that they ain't never slept with. That's how bad it goes. But all this stuff is stress. Okay. And all this stuff can be a detriment to a man's health. Okay. All this stuff can be a detriment to a man's health. Now, again, we had 2 brothers who went to meet up with 2 young ladies, y'all. Okay. Now, what did they do? They got some other men to get involved. And what happens? They start shooting. One of the brothers is now dead. One of the brothers got shot. Okay. That's what happened at the time of this story. One brother got shot and he already dead. The other brother got shot. Hopefully he's still alive. I didn't fully go into that story. Hopefully he made it past getting shot. But his brother dead. We know that already. So now what did they do? They involve other black men. See, black women got this thing where they keep trying to stay out the way and let the men go through all the bloodshed and pain. And that's why I've said time and time again, if something has to jump off, men need to take an attitude that the women must suffer too. If I'm being made to fight with another man, I'm going to make sure that woman get messed up too. See, they need to cut down some of this stuff, but I get it. As long as they can get the dudes going at it and they safe, there's no reason for them to stop. Now, I want y'all to also notice that in that news report, they said nothing was taken. Nothing was taken, right? But even the professional said, we assumed that it was a robbery. How is it a robbery and nothing got took? How is this a robbery and nothing got took? Now, I'm not saying that it's impossible. It could be a robbery that just went wrong. But if you killed one of them, ain't you going to take something off that body? I get we going to run and get on up out of here. But ain't you going to take something off that body? Well, I'm going to say is that they just didn't care. Now, this could have just been a plain old setup that they wanted to get at one of the two brothers. It could have been a plain old setup from Jump Street. Now, I understand it also could be they roped in two guys that wasn't really prepared to be about their life. And so now once they started shooting, they just took off and ran. It could be either one of those things. But it could have just been, we going to kill this guy from Jump Street. And how we going to kill this guy? We going to get somebody else to do it. So you put 4 black men's lives in jeopardy. Luckily, only one lost their life. But see, that's a health risk when you're dealing with black women. It was 4 black men's life in jeopardy because you don't know who packing. Sometimes people show up and they packing too. So all 4 men's lives are in jeopardy. And you know who's going to be safe? The women who are involved in the mess. The women who are bringing these men into each other's lives. And that's why I say if we have to do anything with another man, it needs to be a rule that you make sure that woman get messed up too. Mm-hmm. I'm not finna fight no other man and don't knock that other woman out or hurt her in some kind of. You're not finna have me fighting a bunch of dudes and you just safe. No, I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that at all. And a lot of black men need to start thinking in that way because black women are much more willing to set us up as long as they think nobody gonna turn any anger, fists, or guns at them. And this all needs to stop. So black women are a legitimate health risk. I know they women, and I know, we not gonna just give up on them cold turkey. I'm not even suggesting we are, but I am saying we got to start also looking at them as a health risk as well, because there's different things that they do that put our health at risk. But let me finally get a flow to I ain't saying that name. I ain't cursing no air, y'all. I ain't cursing no air. So my mama asked me to cut the cursing down. I told her I would try to cut the cursing down. But truth be told, I've also said I want to have parents be in position where they can share this with children, which is a good concern with me. So I will not be cursing on air, and I don't encourage y'all to curse either, so people can share this with children. So I'm just going to say, Infinity, you got the flow, because I'm not going to, ain't no way for me to really say that without saying a curse word. But go ahead, my brother. Go ahead.
You could easily say ish till infinity.
All right, well, ish till infinity. I don't know what you do with these names sometimes, but all right, it'd be funny, but y'all, I'm trying to make it where the parents are truly comfortable sharing some of this stuff with their children, because I do think kids hearing this stuff, I mean, it's up to the parents to decide when the kids should hear it. And all my stuff is geared toward adults, so the kids shouldn't see it online unless an adult shares it with them. But, some kids do need to be able to listen to this type of stuff. But go ahead, Ish till infinity. You got it, my brother.
All right, happy Tuesday, Roger.
Happy Tuesday, brother.
It's always a great time when you don't have to deal with the old in your personal life. I'm having a blast. I'm having a blast. I don't think my life could have been easier and better than it is right now. No drama, no pregnancy scare, no no checkup needed because my tools is itching or is on fire. No, life is good. Life is good, man. But life can only be good when you cut off those negative entities from your life. Sometimes, sometimes even sexually. I think it's good for many men to go be celibate for a certain period of time to to remove all the toxicity that you have accumulated over the years by dealing with these entities. I'm gonna call them like that.
Okay, is that it?
Yes, sir. I'm not gonna scold them to do. Not right now.
Okay. All right. Well, we got usual business here. I'm gonna go ahead and give you the flow. You got it, my brother. You got it.
Yeah, on my ideology, it's an eye for an eye. So every scratch that I get, baby girl, I'm gonna give you two. So see what I'm saying, right? So if I get a scratch on my face, baby girl, you got two scratches on your face. Baby girl, if I get three scratches on my face, baby girl, you got six scratches on your face. And we gonna do this math all the way up until I quote unquote don't got no face or you ain't got no face, right? Um, that's my ideology and that's how I deal with things. But people tell me that I'm quote unquote mean. I've been told that my whole life, but also I don't give a damn. I give a dang. Dang. See what I'm saying? I'm respecting this because Roger's mom said so. So Roger's mom, this is for you. This is what I'm saying. Yeah, this is specifically just for you, right? So when it comes to that scenario, man, I wholeheartedly agree because at the end of the day, you ain't gonna have no quote unquote fight where you ain't got no skin in the game, right? When you got skin in the game, you care about the reality of what happened. If this situation go bad or good, you care because you got skin in the game. The problem is you have quote unquote women who believe they're gonna set you up and let you take the full brunt and weight of that decision. First off, man, I don't do nothing for nobody unless you're paying me. That now that rule is starting to include my own family, right? If you ain't listening to my apply this, right? If you don't listen to my rules and regulations, and then you go out there and get yanked up, well then, girl, I hate to say it to you, well you out there just yanked up, and I'm gonna let that be. Thank you.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah, and I'm gonna say, y'all. I mean, real talk. When it comes to the language, that's really more me. Now, my mama did ask me to say, not curse on there and all that. She did, but it really ain't about her. It's really about me making a decision. I want parents comfortable enough to start sharing some of this stuff with their children. And I know we cursing like crazy. They're not gonna be as quick to do it. But some of the stuff we say and we talk about, people need to hear this when they're young. But because of how society is, I make the show where I just make it where because there's choices you can make. Some stuff can be for kids, some stuff is not for kids. So I make this stuff not for kids because people trip sometime, and it's just easier for me to not worry about everybody trying to take my channel down every 3 seconds if I just make it not for kids. But I want people to be able to share this with a son and daughter because there's lessons that they really could start picking up on, or if they start hearing some of this talk when they're younger, they could definitely make some better decisions. Now I ain't gonna say I wouldn't have respected what my mama said, but it ain't really about her. It's really about me trying to help the next generations that are coming up. But I mean, and mama, if you hear this ain't because I don't love you. I ain't saying that either. I'm not saying that either. Okay. But I do think it's important for younger people to start thinking about these concepts before they 20, 21, 25, 30. They need to think about some of this stuff. Now I'm gonna say Black women they are an actual health risk that we just don't truly think about. because you have enough black women setting up guys where, unfortunately, sometimes you even get killed. Okay, I mean, one guy, he got shot, and as bad as getting shot is, he the lucky one because he ain't dead. Okay, that's the type of stuff that you have to think about when you're dealing with black women. You know, if you meet a woman, online somewhere, okay, and now I've been there and done that, and I've been doing it for a long time because I got on the party line back in the day before all this internet stuff was available like it is now. It used to be the party line. I done met women off the party line, but when I got to certain places, meeting these women off the party line, I called myself ready for whatever. Okay, I understood every last woman who invited me to meet her somewhere to be another woman trying to set me up. Now, I'm not saying as a black man I should have had to think about things that way, but as a realistic man, I did. Any one of these women could just be trying to set me up. It's that simple. And yeah, you could talk real nice and good on the phone with a chick. That does not mean she ain't got that does not mean she ain't trying to get me robbed. I don't know why she on that line, especially if you look good. But now that I'm older and can think about the stuff more, if you look good, why was you on the party line in the first place? Okay. You should have men coming at you on a regular basis. But I have messed with some women off the party line. Now, some of them was just plain old liars. And that's why I said, y'all, I don't deal with the online stuff with women no more. People are like, well, you can see them, man. Women been lying since party line days. I don't expect them to now be truthful. And, so I don't believe it. I just don't believe women on the internet like that. I just don't. It's just real talk. They still women at the end of the day. But all of them can be trying to set you up. Any one of them can be a carrier of something. Well, go ahead, User Ben. You trying to say something? Go ahead.
I was gonna say technically they've been lying since Adam and Eve. Technically,
I mean, well, my thing is based on how women, deal with their words. They don't come off as people I should trust when I just look at how they talk. Okay, it just is what it is to me, y'all. I simply recognize stuff as it is. All right. So women lie all the time. I've said plenty of times. You could be with your girl, she yours. And you tell your girl you about to go get you something to eat. You can't even trust her to tell you the truth about her being hungry. Baby, you want something to eat? No, I don't want nothing. She hungry as I don't know what. The reason you said I'm finna go get something to eat, because you hungry. Now, how you hungry and she not hungry? Of course she hungry, but you can't even trust her to be honest about hunger, and y'all already with each other. Now, I know a lot of people never really thought about that in any kind of real way. I just accepted that the woman's lying, okay? That's just what it is. I don't pretend it's something else, y'all. I don't pretend I'm stupid to make somebody else feel comfortable. I don't do all that, all right? That's not why I'm going to pretend I'm stupid. I'm not doing it to make you feel comfortable. Now, maybe I'm trying to see how far your lies will go if I'm acting like I don't have a clue what's going on, but I do not generally play stupid to make you feel comfortable. I know when I tell a girl, look, I'm finna go grab something to eat. Are you hungry? And she say no, I know she lying. And I just accept she will lie to me. And a lot of women don't get it how I started changing, what I'm saying, but stuff that they did. Your attitude changed since, hey, you know what? Remember that time I asked you, did you want something to eat? Yeah. And remember how you told me no, but when I came home, you was all over my food? Yeah. See, that told me you a lie to me. That's one of the things I asked you not to do. I don't ask you for much. I just ask, don't lie. That's it. If there's a problem, just tell me what it is so I can be better prepared to handle it when something come up. But you will lie to me over lunch. And to me, y'all, this is not a good thing that you lie to me over something that small. It is what it is. So the reality is when I meet up with women, do I expect them to tell me the truth that they got something? I'm being honest with y'all. The answer is no. I understand women are going to have diseases or going to be carrying something that they don't want. Can I trust them to be honest with me about the fact that they have something? No, I cannot. I don't believe it. It is what you say what you want to say. I don't believe. I can't trust a black woman to tell me she's hungry. You think I can trust her to tell me she got HIV? No. Now, I understand when you think about these thoughts at the same time, this could rub people the wrong way. I totally get that. But if I can't trust you to tell me you hungry and you my woman, how can I trust a woman who ain't my woman to tell me she got HIV? Think about that, y'all. That should be a very sobering thought for people who ain't never thought about them two things at the same time. How can I trust a woman to tell me she got herpes? She won't even tell me she hungry.
She gonna lie about it.
You see what I'm saying? I'm with you. I'm not a stranger. It ain't our first time meeting. I'm with you. And I tell you I'm finna go get something to eat. Ask you if you're hungry to make a good gesture to make sure you're taken care of as well. And you won't even say you're hungry. But I can trust a woman that I don't really know about having a disease.
Shit. I mean, and let's put this as a testing and proving ground for this theory that we posting or we putting out. When you ask a woman, do you know that man? And she look at you and say, I've never seen that person a day in my life. She was with that motherfucker last month. I have never seen this person a day in my life. Wait, don't you got a high school picture with him also? Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
And y'all, this is why I've legitimately told y'all time and time again. And I know everybody ain't seen everything I ever did. And unfortunately, I've lost multiple channels. And I kind of get it to a certain degree because I do put out some stuff that I get that society wouldn't necessarily want men to think about. I have gotten to the point there's certain things I don't even ask women because I don't expect them to be honest. Okay? You know? Now, I'm not saying body count is not an important thing. But I've told y'all the reason I don't ask women what their body count is, there's no number they're going to tell me that I'm going to believe. That number don't exist. I don't care what age they are. I don't even trust female kids. If I talk to a girl that's 13, 14 years old, and for some reason I'm asking her what her body count is, if this was to even come up in conversation, I wouldn't believe her either. I'm just telling you the truth. I wouldn't believe her either. And that's just real talk. Okay? I don't believe none of the answers they give. So, and I know guys, you know, I'm not saying don't ask. I'm never going to tell no man not to ask something that he wants to know. I'm saying the only reason I don't ask because I don't believe her anyway. I don't need to ask because there's no number she's going to tell me that I'm going to accept is anywhere near the truth. And that's just real talk. I don't believe any of them. Okay?
Can I say something?
Go ahead.
All right. Now, Roger necessarily, me and Roger agree 99.999% of the time, right? But it's one of them one time I'm gonna say I would disagree with Roger. You know why I say that, right? It's simple. Because when I ask her the body count, and then when I already know she gonna lie. Repeat this. You come in there knowing that she gonna lie. But when she tell you the number, right? And then when she accidentally reveal an extra number, you then look at her and say, so how many things have you been lying to me about? And then you storm out the room and you use that for future fights. I'm telling you, see what I'm saying? If you play the game like how you play and how I play, it's still saying, I already know you lying. So I'm putting future traps down for you to walk into like a trade hunter. Yeah, you won't fall into this pit trap and I'm gonna let you fall into it. Baby girl, how many people you been out been with? Only 2. Oh, okay. Who that random guy over here? I can't trust you. You know what? I gotta go fuck your friend. I'm so sorry. I can't trust you. That's me.
You got to. It ain't even a decision at that point. You gotta go get your friend.
But that's me though.
It's essential. No, I don't think that's a disagreement because again, I'm not telling any guy not to ask. If you want to ask. I'm just saying I don't do it because I don't believe them. But I'm not disagreeing that it's a bad thing. I think you should ask a woman anything you want to know. Real talk, y'all. So I don't even think we disagreed in that one. Okay, you just said trap that I'm not necessarily
I'm saying, well, I'm out here doing what is that? 3D chess out here, bro. I'm doing 3D chess.
And my thing is, ain't nothing wrong with it at the end of the day, y'all. As a man, I do want men to understand and have the confidence to ask anything that you want to know. Because I ask what people view as crazy questions, but it's stuff I got to know. It's that simple at the end of the day. I need to understand who I'm finna mess with. And especially if we getting serious, I need to know really what's going on with a lot of stuff. And a lot of women, when it comes to me, they will be asked questions that they're just not even expecting to hear. And that's real talk. You know, because I'm the type of person I might ask you, how many times have you ever caught an STD? Women don't expect to hear questions like that, and a lot of them act like they appalled or insulted that I asked them. And you know what? When you insulted that I asked you, you just tell me you somebody I don't want to touch. It's that simple to me. If you insulted that I asked you, you know about STDs in a different level, because women talk to each other. And y'all, just like men would share certain stuff with each other that we not really putting out there in the public world, women talk to each other. They got friend groups. They got all type of nonsense going on. Matter of fact, shout out to Trey Bentley, who just gave an example of it. Women in the friend groups was telling each other they all slept with the same guy. Now, y'all think they was, quote unquote, promoting stuff like that on campus? You think when ladies are in college, they promote stuff like that on campus? You think they promote that on social media? They don't tell stuff like that. You know, they try to hide those things. Women will say, I slept with a guy, but they're not trying to tell people, yeah, we all knew each other and we slept with the same guy. They don't be trying to tell stuff like that. They keep stuff to themselves. So I deal with them how they actually are, not the perception of who they're supposed to be. And I think that's something black men need to just start to adapt. Deal with them how they actually are, not the perception that they're supposed to be. Black women are a health risk. Now, I'm not saying I don't love them. I ain't saying I wouldn't sleep with them, because Lord knows I done been there and done that. But I ain't going to actually lie that I've literally prayed to God to please protect me from anything she might be carrying. I understand you don't want me to be having sex unmarried, but please protect me from anything she might be carrying. And that's real talk. And some people say, Raj, that's crazy. No, I think it's necessary. And that's real talk, y'all. I know I ain't no perfect man. God knows I ain't no perfect man. But I literally believe I need the Lord's intervention to deal with black women. And that's just real talk. Now, you say what you want to say about that. I'm just keeping it real. Please protect me from whatever she might be carrying. And that's just real talk. It is what it is. So strap it up ain't enough for me. I'm just going to tell you like that, y'all. I'm going to strap up, but it still ain't enough for me.
So you said...
Go ahead.
So you ask God to protect you from these demons then, man?
Bro, I can't defeat everything on my own. Okay.
He said, Lord, protect me from these demons. I know they coming.
I got an ego too, but I know I can't beat everything on my own, bro. That's just real talk. So, I ain't out here lying to myself. That's one thing I ain't gonna do. I ain't gonna lie to me. Okay.
Hey, bro, you can't lie to you, bro.
Yeah, I don't want to lie, period. But if I'm gonna lie, I'm gonna do it to somebody else. I ain't lying to me. But let me let these other gentlemen get in. We got the Great Black Reset has come up. And Jado has also joined us. So the Great Black Reset, you got it. And we're going to get Jado in right behind you. You have the flow, my brother.
What's happening, fellas? What's happening? I'm glad I got in before the great Jado because he asked some fantastic questions. Um, you can't protect yourself from whorish behavior. You might run into a whore that ain't got nothing, but her behavior is going to lead her to something eventually. You can't protect yourself from that. But the greatest advice you're going to get is it's time to abandon black women. It's just time, bro.
Yeah.
Statistically, you're like at damn near 75% chance of catching something from one of them at some point. It's a wrap, bro. But that's for the 10% of guys that are really going to take that advice and move on from black women to another race. some sort, somehow, whether it's passport bros or within America and dating out. For the rest of you who are going to be like Roger, praying to the Lord to keep you from whatever demonic activity she's been in, your first date, if you're going to date black women, need to be the clinic.
Mhm.
Like seriously, no joke. This is not a joke. Your first date needs to be to the clinic, especially if you live in a major metropolitan city. And the women that you need to avoid, these chicks out here talking about they like thugs and drug dealers and scammers. Man, them dudes going to jail and prison and they getting off in there. I was a correction officer. I seen it with my own two eyes. Man, look at here. Do not date any woman whose baby daddy been in prison. Do not date any woman whose boyfriend is in and out of jail. Man, just stay away from these women. It is time for the black man, productive black men, need to move on from foundational black American women. It's over, fellas. It's a wrap. And I will land my plane there.
All right. Jado, you got the flow, brother.
Man, howdy, fellas. Hope y'all doing well, man. Salute to the chat, replay gang, everything, man.
Jado, 1 second, please.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Please forgive me.
No problem.
Shout out to Trail Bit. He say, "Oh, so you was watching him?" Trail's trying to start some mess out here. Trail trying to start some mess. But that's funny. That is funny. I'm sorry. I shouldn't be cutting Jada off for something like that.
I've had to break up. I've had to break up and lock people down for illicit activities inside the prisons.
So technically, you've had to watch them at least for a few moments.
Yeah, man. They get right out. You see them on the streets, and they got wives and girlfriends and children, and I'm like, bruh, like 2 months ago, I just broke you up. Come on board. What's going on? Yeah.
All right, let's get a flow
my
back.
bad.
Let's get the flow back there. I shouldn't have stopped them anyway. So that's really on me. My bad. My bad. Go ahead, Jado. My bad. Sorry, brother. My apologies.
You're all good. No, man, I've worked in the healthcare industry for quite some time. I've reviewed thousands of health records and stuff, and I've seen all types of things. And it doesn't. None of this stuff surprises me. As far as health risks, Roger, I definitely agree. Physical, and for me personally, man, my spiritual health, man, is very important to me. So, man, I've come to the conclusion, man, I avoid them black women for the most part at all costs. For the most part, I mean, of course, man, I'm living life, so I have to come across them. I was with a lot of my family members recently, man, and I had a pleasant time. But I avoid them at all costs. So if I avoid them, I can't catch something from them, man. I can't catch nothing, a virus, a bacteria, a parasite, or anything. And I can't catch a spiritual disease from them too, man. Because if you're around them too much, man, like you said about the subconscious, Roger, you'll pick up a lot of their stuff, man, including their language and stuff like that. So I don't want to be infected by that, man. So, and I know it sounds crazy, but I don't try to, I avoid long conversations with them unless I have to. I avoid laying up with them at this point, man. Sometimes something will fall in my lap, and I'll do what I do. But for the most part, man, I kind of avoid them because they present these risks to me and my livelihood. And I'll end right there. Thanks for having me up, Ron.
Well, I'm gonna say it don't sound crazy to me at all. To me, it just sounds, like a legitimate calculation. I know these women could affect me in a certain way, so therefore I'm going to avoid these women. That sounds intelligent to me. Okay, that don't sound crazy at all, and that's real talk. It make a lot of sense to me. But y'all, we got Tunnel Runner who's actually coming up right now. So let me chill for a second and get a flow to Tunnel Runner. You got it, my brother. How you doing?
Doing good, sir. Doing good. Just wanted to let the brothers know that there are the CDC maps will show you where these serious cases are. A lot of them are where majority of black people live, and there's places where there are lower cases. So if you go and gamble where the risks are low, but always protect yourself. I mean, that's why we have we have protection. It should be used because this is a dangerous world.
So basically, all the places you said to go, quote unquote, gamble, basically means away from Black American women.
Well, I mean, you can look at the map. There are places that have lower rates, and there are places that have higher rates. I don't want to say. I'm trying to be
Don't do
nice.
that. Don't do this. Don't do this to me. Don't do this to me, right? So you just said. I know how these niggas get when it comes to jangling, when it comes to juggling these chainsaws. So hold on, so I'm gonna say this again now, right? So you said the majority of these things is where quote unquote black women usually reside at, right?
Correct, sir.
Tunnel Runner say, I didn't make the map. I'm just telling you what the map say.
So if you gonna gamble, you shouldn't be gambling with a black American woman, then basically. If you gonna gamble,
educated. That sounds very educated. You sound like that sounds like a smart move.
Okay then. You know what I'm saying? Strike two then, goddamn it. Strike two then.
Look. I'm gonna say every man should take every woman as a gamble, but there's certain states that's just higher than others, and we got to start thinking in those terms. If I'm dealing with a black woman, I need to be a little bit more careful, you know, than I with what I think I need to be with other women. Now, I'm not gonna say don't use the same precautions with other women, but I do believe if you treat other women the way you would have to treat a black woman, you're gonna be in good shape because you ain't gonna get a worse group. You know, not no time soon. You know, it's 2026. I don't think anytime soon you're gonna have to deal with a worse group of women than black women from certain risk, especially when it comes to things like health. Because black women will put a baby on you and have you stressed out, you know, have your money taken. And we don't think about all the indirect stuff that happens because you're losing your money in some situation that you need to get resolved. And the hard part about it is, let's say they do put a baby on you, and you go through a process, and they're gonna actually somehow you actually get to stay off out your check. Well, why they're taking money out your check? Because it ain't like they take money out some check. No, they take money out of every single check you get. So now you got to come up with extra money to fight to get the state out of your check when you got less money to work with in the first place, while you still got to maintain your life. It's a hard situation to deal with. And what states wants to let you go when they know if they ain't got you paying, they gonna have to pay. So no state has an incentive to let you off the hook once they already got you paying. And that's just real talk. I ain't saying it can't happen, but there is no incentive for them to start paying instead of you. They like you when you paying. And that's just what it is, you know? And it's hard to get them to stop.
What black men need to understand, productive black men is black women don't want anything to do with you until they've destroyed their lives. When they go out, when they the hot chick on the market, and all the dope boys is hollering at them and all this other kind of stuff, and they can ride around these cars with big rims. They don't want nothing to do with your Honda Civic driving ass. They don't. They don't want nothing to do with your good credit having ass, your good job having ass. They don't want nothing to do with your 401k. As soon as they find themselves with 2 or 3 baby daddies from 4 or 5 different niggas, now here they come running to you. They do the same thing with STDs. The same thing.
Mm-hmm.
They go out there and they run around with these guys that are high risk, and when they crap out, now they want a good man. I have experienced that in my life at least twice that I know of, and only God knows how many other times He's protected me from that kinds of stuff. These women will know that they carry some kind of package that's going to affect you for the rest of your life, which will be short if you fall for it. And here they come next to you, want to be next to you. Now that they don't know that they're going to destroy them lives, they will, and they are actively doing that.
They're
So
actively. My bad. I'm sorry.
let me tell y'all something. Some of these entities, they are here playing Pokeball with their coochies, catching them all. And you want to tell me that it's not the best idea to just avoid all of them altogether?
I don't think nobody up here didn't say avoiding is a good response. I don't think anybody says that. You know,
Hmm?
when you avoid something, that's the best way to protect yourself from that thing. And so avoidance cannot be off the table, and that's just real talk. Or you might be in a situation that Landon talking about right here in the super chat. Shout out to Landon. He says some brothers are sharing the baby. And as funny as that sound, that's the truth. Because it is women out here who have multiple men that they are claiming as the father of their child. And I've seen this where they had multiple men paying child support for a baby. There are guys where I've seen women with 2 and 3 guys having different men pay child support, and they not going through the court system. They said, well, I ain't gonna take you through the court system, but I'm gonna have you do this. And they've had 2 and 3 men paying for a baby at the same time. That's a real thing.
I've dated a grown woman who called a man her father that she knew was not her father because her mother told her so when she was a child, and she's still carrying that lie today. And I took this woman to actually meet her actual biological father.
So she's just down with the lie.
All the way, 100%.
Oh, of course, bro. To the max. Who baby that is? We don't know. Oh, you know what?
100%.
That baby light skinned because quote unquote, see what I'm saying? You because my your grandmama was Indian.
Yeah, my great aunt Matilda. See what I'm saying? Y'all forgot I got this great aunt Matilda, and great aunt Matilda was bi. Matter of fact, she was black and white. And, she got the green eyes come from her. I know they don't run your family, but that's my great aunt Matilda's eyes.
For African people, but you got green eyes though, bro. Green eyes though.
Yeah. I mean, they are willing to put out whatever they need to put out to figure that situation out for the moment. And that's why guys got to understand black women, like other women, they're moment to moment. I've always had a running joke that, black women can only think 4 minutes ahead. That's about it. Okay. Anything beyond 4 minutes, they ain't worried about. They worried about trying to fix whatever they need to fix in that moment. And once that moment is gone, it's over with for them. It just is what it is. But we as black men, we've never thought about black women being an actual health risk, because there's a lot of behaviors that they engage in that truly put your health at risk. Because black women have been able to get other people to engage in nonsense over what they do. Okay, you out and about. Okay, your woman does something she ain't got no business doing. You could be out to dinner and she may get into it with another couple. Now she's trying to basically sign you up for fights that you ain't even trying to fight. You don't even feel like fighting that day. And she'll do something wrong and get mad, such as open a car door and hit somebody else's car. Now they upset that their car door got hit. Now I understand this is a small thing that should be able to drop, but everybody don't drop everything right away. And then she talking like she gonna knock dude out, even though she bumped into his car, because she not gonna apologize. Think about that. When the last time you heard a black woman apologize to anybody? So she opened up the car door Now he done bought his brand new Mustang. He finally got into a position where he can get his Mustang. Okay, he been wanting the Mustang for 23 years, but he just got in position where he can finally get a Mustang. Now he coming out the restaurant, and here she go opening her car door, bumping into his brand new Mustang. He ain't even made the first payment on it yet, y'all. He only dropped some money down. He ain't even made the first payment, and she done bumped to his Mustang because he's a nigga. Because that's how she see him. Because he a nigga, she won't just apologize for bumping into his car. And then will threaten him because my man gonna handle that for me. Now you out there got to make a decision. Do you take a chance on getting your teeth knocked out? And I'm not saying you can't whoop the other guy, y'all, but let's be realistic. Everybody don't win every fight. Somebody got to lose. It's just that simple. Somebody got to lose. So now she's signing you up to take chances on maybe you win, but maybe you lose. Simply because you want to apologize to a dude for bumping into his car. It's a big deal to him because he just got it. Again, he ain't made the first payment on it. He dropped $1,000 down at the car lot. He ain't made his first payment, but he finally got that Mustang he been wanting since he was a kid. You know, and he got the whole package on that boy. But your girl ain't gonna apologize though. You know, and we let stuff like that slide. We don't even think about it. That's a health risk. At the end of the day, if I gotta beat up every random man, my health is at risk. Because I understand I'm not gonna whoop every single person out there. Now, and I tell you straight up, as a person who's had fights, the only fight I ever lost was the time I ended up in a coma, y'all. I got jumped by so many people, which I'm never gonna tell y'all because y'all wouldn't even believe the story if I told you. It didn't sound mythical to you. That's the only fight I ever lost. And I understand I can't whoop everybody. But your woman don't care. She's got a bad attitude. She don't apologize for nothing, you know, especially some nigga. And that's the other part about when you're dealing with a woman who is a white supremacist. See, you might be with her, but every other dude is just some nigga to her. And when she has an attitude as you just some nigga, she can indirectly sign you up for all types of situations that you don't want nothing to do with. And even as a guy who's won fights, I don't want to go living my life trying to win fights all the time. It's draining. Real talk, it's draining. Especially when you're grown and you got stuff to do.
Oh, I got a video for you, man.
Yeah. Well, if you see something in the back chat, say it in the back chat. But right now I got to get a flow to the champ is here. The champ is here. So I gotta let him get the mic. You got it, my brother. You got it.
Hey, what's going on? Happy Tuesday. I hope you all brothers had a really good weekend. Yeah, Roger. Let me just say this. If you still love black, now if you want to stick with black women, that's fine, and everything else. You better be very. It's gonna be. It's almost like trying to find a pin in a haystack because a lot of these sisters, are very jacked up and everything else, emotionally and everything. And as the brother just said earlier, Kevin, you know, hey, get your passport. I would recommend if you want to go with sisters, stick with sisters, get them in Latin America because you have a better shot and everything else. And another thing is too, we're talking about this HIV, sexual transmitted disease. You remember a couple of years ago when this white DJ was giving AIDS, was infecting a lot of black women with AIDS and everything else.
Mm-hmm.
And he got something like about 9 years or something like that. Where was the outrage from the sisterhood, the black feminists, women's groups, and everything else? Why wasn't there that much outrage? I noticed there was a lot of outrage from black men, but black women, there wasn't that much outrage. There was some, but not a whole lot. So it just goes to show you where the mindset that some of these black women are at right now. You know, so yeah, I'm gonna land my plane there.
I mean, catching HIV is a small price to pay when you get to lay up with your God, man, or who you perceive
Yeah.
as God.
Yep, exactly.
Well, I guess perception means a lot because that's a big price to me. That's a big ticket item to me. And you don't just go around buying big ticket items, man. That's real talk. So she ain't worth that to me. And that's just real talk, y'all. She not worth that to
I
me.
don't know though. But I mean, but if you get eternity with your God though.
Let me say that again.
I don't know, but eternity with your God though, bro. But eternity
God.
with your God though. I don't know, but I don't know, man. Some people out here that make some real questionable decisions to be exactly, bro. Amen, bro. Amen, bro. I'm
I
telling
hear
you, man.
you, bro.
Hey, bro. You know, for Jesus, ain't nothing too good for Jesus, bro. Now your black ass, so you know that's a little different. But for Jesus, make please, boy.
Man, I gonna have to serve a new religion. Shout out to Land. Shout out to Landon. He say, like trying to finding a hay in a needle stack. Like trying to find a straw hay in a needle stack. Yeah, that's tough right there. Would you want to find some hay and a stack of needles?
It's true, and everything else. And most of the sisters who are single and don't have a man, you know, they're going to be. They've already got this anti black male mentality and everything else. Very difficult.
What? Well, you know, the thing is, regardless of their disposition, we do need to see them as a health risk too. You know, because yeah, they have different dispositions out here, but for some reason, you know, black women seem to be catching stuff more than other women do. Now, let's think about this. Why are they catching stuff more than other women do? Black women don't have sexual standards, y'all. Black women just in general don't have standards. So black women sleep with everybody. Now let's be real about this, y'all. Let's take our egos out of it and just be realistic. Who believes that, you know, a lot of folks got a gas station somewhere in the neighborhood, right? That gas station has somebody working in there. The people who work in there are Arab. Do y'all really believe those Arab men ain't sleeping with the women at the gas station who come to that gas station? Y'all believe they ain't sleeping with none of those men?
Bro, black women sleep with everybody, bro. So like, for me, like I've already said, bro, when a woman who will make herself make herself the whore of a society necessarily has no standards and no
Hey,
vision.
Roger,
So
you
at the
got to
end of the
look out
day,
for any of these women who have all these male gay friends that are, you know, I had they, you know, they so-called had these boyfriends that are in the
that's
alternative
also true.
lifestyles.
They
Got to
sleeping with
watch
them
out for
too.
that.
Yeah.
They sleeping
Black
with
women
them
have
too.
babies by quote unquote gay men. Not even by me.
Correct.
Not even by gay men. Gay meaning you only sleep with the same sex. But they got babies by these quote unquote gay men. Now, that's an amazing thing to accomplish to have a baby by a man that only sleeps with men. That's an amazing accomplishment. That's all I can tell you on that one. You know, but that's what I'm saying. We got to think about things in a real term. So, you know, if you have a store and white men work at the store, y'all really think if that store is anywhere near a black area that women ain't sleeping with that man? Y'all really think this guy come to this particular store, opens up the store, and by the time he get out of work, he go home and he ain't got nobody's phone number. He ain't got no chicks that he going to their house after work. None of them. He in a black neighborhood, you know, and it don't make no difference what the store. It could be a CVS, it could be a Walgreens, it could be anything. You think he ain't sleep with somebody who come to that store on a regular basis? You know, and these are things men don't want to think about because Number one, there's always gonna be an issue of ego. Number two, it's so small you don't really even think about it because you're busy living your life. But there are all kinds of stores and even big chains who got stuff in black areas. When they hire some guy and he's anything other than a black man, y'all really think that guy going home and he ain't sleeping nobody who comes to that store because it happens to be in their neighborhood? This is a person, a man who's anything other than black, who happens to work in a store that's in a black area. Y'all really believe that man ain't busting down women all through the neighborhood? Do you really believe that? Can I ask you some serious questions? You know?
Roger.
I don't.
No. We already know they hoes, bro. Like, I mean, you can't can't be a fifth generation baby mama and quote unquote be a good woman. Like, these things don't
No.
don't go
No, everybody don't know they hoes. Everybody don't know they hoes. Some people who are older have accepted it, but a lot of guys don't know they hoes. That's why they pursue black women the way that they do. Because they haven't accepted they hoes. And we gotta be real about this too. And remember, y'all, there's always some new 18-year-old, 19-year-old, 20-year-old, and he don't have a clue. You know, I'm gonna show one soon. but J-Lo, you was about to say something too. I hope you ain't lost your thought.
Oh no, Rod. I don't know if you've used one of these clips, but it's these clips that come out. It's in Chicago. I can tell by the lingo and all this stuff. It's some Arab. I guess he's somewhat young or whatever, and they go frequent the liquor store or whatever. They go by you, and you can tell he'll say some outlandish stuff to all types of the customers or whatever.
Yeah,
And
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, and he'll flirt with the black girls too, and they basically they're ready to go, man. They're ready to get down, man. And no matter what he says to them, man.
I know exactly what you're talking about. I mean, we'll talk about it maybe in the round table after the show.
Time.
But
okay, for sure.
Ain't nobody. No, I'm saying if it's the guy I know, who I believe you're talking about, ain't no chick ever turned him down, not one. He do be flirting with random black chicks in there, and he be making his videos and all that. But if he come at a chick, they don't nobody say no. Which, I mean, it is what it is. Okay, it is what it is. Okay, and based on his voice, I think he's Arab. But he does flirt with black women, and none of them turn him down. And that's just what he got 100% based on what I've seen. His batting average is literally 1,000.
And he can say the most outlandish, insulting things to them, and he'll turn them right. And they're still like really. You can see the glow in their eyes the way they look at him.
Yeah. So as a black man, I can't afford to think that I come across some woman and she ain't been busting down for men of other communities. I can't afford to think that way. Now, I understand I don't want to have a thought in my head that, 5 Arab men ran the train on my girl. I don't want to have that thought. But if I deal with a black woman, that could be a very realistic thing. Because black women say yes to everybody who's not black. And as bad as that may sound, if I'm real about it, if I put no emotion into it, I've been alive long enough to see plenty of men come at black women. And rarely do I see any of them say no. A lot of them will have husbands, or they'll have fiancés or even boyfriends, and they still don't say no. It's extremely rare that I see a black woman turn down any non-black man. And I mean any non-black man. So at the end of the day, when those guys get diseases, they may not be able to go back to their community and just slay here and there. But you know who they can get down with? Black women.
Keisha.
So when you start hearing things about how, they do all this stuff talking about why do black women catch this stuff more and more and more? What if you will let anybody bust off in you? How could she not be the leading woman when it comes to new diseases? You see, people don't put 2 and 2 together. She will let anybody hit it. She'll let the black man hit it. She gonna let the Arab man hit it. She gonna let the white guy hit it. She gonna let the Indian guy hit it. She gonna let the Asian guy hit it. what technically you can wrap that into the same thing, okay? But whatever kind of man it is, Chinese, Korean, whatever, she'll let all of them hit it. Why wouldn't she have the biggest new cases of whatever disease you want to talk about that's an STD? And then it eventually trickles over into black men because we having sex with them more than any other group of women. And we don't think about that type of stuff, and there's no, they said in one of the clips that I put in there, they don't have no plans to combat, why stuff is going up in black women in ways that ain't going up in other women. Ain't no plan, man. How do you stop something from traveling when she's willing to sleep with all the different groups of men? If a black man got it, she'll get it from him. If the Arab man got it, she'll get it from him. If the white guy got it, she'll get it from him. If the Hispanic guy got it, she'll get it from him. If the Korean man got it, she'll get it from him. See, when you start putting all that together, to me, it's not a surprise that stuff increases amongst black women more than it increases among other groups of women. Because other groups of women don't have the reputation black women have. Now, I'm going to say again that I've said before in the past. When I was a kid, it was known that white women were the hoes. They were the hoes of America. When nobody busting down like a white girl gonna bust down. That was how it was. Black women have fought to get in the number one position of being the hoes of America. They fought that fight and they won. Well, I should say they fought that fight and they won. It just is what it is. Because when I was a kid, it was the white girls that had their reputation. They don't have it like they used to have it. Black women have overtook them. So I don't understand how your numbers don't come up when you're willing to bust down for everybody. It just is.
Was it a flawless victory?
Have you ever wondered how?
I'm trying to figure out, was it like a flawless victory? Did they fight a little bit? Was it kind of a hard fight, or did they just they just came in 100%? Hey, you can't stop this hoeing, bro.
I mean, technically, I think it kind of is a flawless victory because I don't think there's any group of men that believe black women aren't the hoes of America. So I would have to kind of go with it probably is a flawless victory at this point. Because if it wasn't, somebody else would believe that another group of women are the hoes of America. Is there any group of men who don't believe black women are the hoes of America? I don't think there is. I've seen no indication.
There's two hoes of America. I'm technically.
No, I'm saying the number one spot. I'm saying because I'm not saying men don't think there's hoes in different groups of women, but who holds that belt as the number one group?
Oh, well, 100%, bro. Hey, bro, if it ain't KK Keisha, bro, it ain't gonna be the top, bro, because KK Keisha will always end up on top, bro, of the worst things.
Well, you said it's a flawless victory. My thing is the reasonable thought for me to have is there any other group of men in America that don't believe black women are the hoes of America? And I'm going to say at this point, I don't believe that to be true. I've never really heard some other group of men say the hoes of America is anybody other than black women. I haven't heard that. And that's just real talk. Now, I'm going to read this real quick, and I'm going to throw the mic to Black Guru because he done came up. So shout out to Inspired Truth Broadcast. He says, when quote unquote, we listen, but we don't judge. Wow. When we listen, but we don't judge, meets its logic in. Or I guess you meant to put logical in. Yeah, I think that's kind of what it is, bro. I think that's what it kind of is. If we don't worry about judging the situation, just look at what the situation is, I'm going to say I don't believe there's any other group of men who believe that black women aren't the hoes of America. Can you find an individual man that say, no, they probably not the hoes of America? I'm pretty sure if you look hard enough, maybe you can find a guy of some other group or even amongst black men who will say that black women aren't the hoes of America. But collectively, is there any conclusion that somebody other than black women? I don't think so. That's real talk. Because I think you'll have a hard enough time to find any even individual guy who would say this group of women are bigger hoes than black women are. I think you'll have a problem with that just even as an individual. What man gonna say another group of women are bigger hoes than black women. I just don't know. I really just
Men
don't
that
know
don't
on
know
that.
America.
You know,
I think I understand what you're saying. The reality is the only men who would say that is the only men who don't know, quote unquote, black women, how whorish the black woman is, right?
no,
So
I'm
like,
not even saying that. What I'm saying is, it's easy to say somebody not the hoes of America, but if you say pick in order the group of women who are the top hoes in America, see, once you got to put a name to it, who gonna put another group before black women? Who gonna put another group before black women? See, it's easy to say, well, no, I don't think that of them, and then you don't name anybody. But if you say, no, which group is the biggest hoes? Give me like the top 3 groups, okay? Which groups you going with? Now, see, now can they say anybody other than black women? I don't think they're going to say that. And I'm just being real. I just don't think that's going to be said. And I'm going to say, shout out to No Placeholder. He says, up until the late 90s, white women was America's hoes. Okay. And yeah, I'm definitely say that. Because I remember when I was a kid when they was the hoes of America. I remember that. It was going on for a while. It's just, I grew up and that stopped. And it turned into black women. It is what it is. But let me go ahead and let Black Guru get this flow. Black Guru, you got the flow, my brother.
Hey, Roger. Thanks for having me. I hope you and the gentlemen on the panel, folks in the public chat, are doing well. You guys talking about the biggest hoes in America. I'm not sure if black women are the biggest hoes in America. I'm not sure if they are. I think they have the reputation of such because of a series of mistakes that they have collectively made as a group in terms of guarding their reputation. And I think the logistics of Black life lead to some conclusions that are different from those of other women, uh, even though Black women may be engaged in the same or similar activity. For example, you may have white women and Black women who are equally promiscuous. But if you have Black women in a more concentrated population environment, like in the city, for example, in New York, for example, particularly highly concentrated population, you're probably going to have higher STD rates amongst the Black women there because you got all these people jumbled up together. So where you have in many white communities, things are more spread out, less concentrated, less frequency of interaction with lots of different men or whatever. So you may have, even though you can randomly pick a white girl, she may be just as likely to bust it wide open as that Black girl. But because of the environments they're in, is going to lead to some different conclusions. I think you guys mentioned the prison issue. The prison issue definitely complicates and exacerbates uh, issues involving STDs and other uh, maladaptive pathological behavior that result in your STD, higher STD HIV rates. So I'm not sure. And when I say this from the perspective of a of a father. I've sent my daughters to white schools. They spend a lot of time around white girls. I don't know if your average Black girl is more whorish than your average white girl. I don't know if that's actually true. I think, again, the logistics of Black life versus white life lead to some different conclusions. I think it's easier to advertise. I think there's a motive to advertise Black women as hoes more so than the average white. To advertise, and that has always existed. The Jezebel or the whatever. That's all. There's always been a motive to present Black women a certain kind of way, even if you take the motives of black men and black women out of it. You know, they always wanted their Meg Thee Stallion. They had their Josephine Baker generations before they always wanted to present black women as being particularly lascivious. So I don't know. I mean, I am as critical of the behavior of black women as all of you are. I think they, unfortunately, the biggest mistake I think as a collective black women have made in recent generations is they have not as strictly guarded their collective image and reputation as their grandmothers did. Their grandmothers strictly, their grandmothers, great grandmothers strictly guarded their reputation, their image. There was a lot of talk about hemlines and necklines and exposing shoulders and stuff like that. And a lot of that was because there was the understanding that you were going to be sexualized, almost regardless of what you do, you were going to be sexualized. So it's incumbent upon you to limit the opportunity for society to sexualize you. The biggest mistake that black women have made, and given sexual liberation, second and third wave feminism, tricked black women into allowing themselves to be made the image of wanton uh, sexual behavior and depravity. But I don't know if they have necessarily, in terms of their actual behavior, whether they've actually eclipsed white women. And if you spent enough time around white women, you know what the hell I'm talking about.
I can
Hey,
tell.
Black Ooh. Hey, Black Ooh. I don't necessarily disagree with what you're saying. I think you make some good points, but I just two questions. Like, why didn't they guard their image, and also the fact that we're questioning it is a problem in itself, right? If we're like kind of debating who's number one, and I guess number one and number two, right? Are we
It's number
talking
one and
about
number
first?
two, bro.
Are we? I mean, like the
Well,
fact that we're even debating it, bro.
when we stop
Hmm.
when we stop getting married, because the reputation of women is going to be a function of what they want men to think of them. And of course, because that's going to affect whether men want them as wives and mothers of their children, want them, view how they're going to view them in terms of Christians, the church, how they're going to view them as neighbors. Do I want this nasty woman around my children in the neighborhood? But when we stop getting married, then those safeguards that around the reputation, the image and reputation of black women went away. Now the women wanted sexual liberation. They wanted sexual freedom. They wanted to be able to bust it wide open. They wanted to be able to get their own apartment when they had a baby, turn 18 years old, had a baby so they can move out of their mama's house and don't have to answer to no man. They wanted all of that. But what can't, like there's a lot of unintended consequences or byproducts, I guess, of things that we want. Well, the reputation of black women has been an unfortunate, the lessening, the fall of the reputation of black women has been probably from their perspective an unintended consequence of their sexual liberation.
All right, y'all. I'm finna get in. Shout out to Shark Sims. He said, Roger, biggest in the world. Think Europe, Dubai, etc. I'm gonna say I agree that they have that reputation of the biggest in the world. Now I'm gonna say this too, y'all. There is no D in Roger. I see people putting it in the chat. There is no D in Roger. Don't be coming to me with no extra D. Okay, that don't even sound right to me. Don't be coming to me with no extra D. That ain't gonna ride over here. Okay, no extra D.
That don't sound
All
right in more ways than one.
No, Roger, that's Roger's intent. Roger good with them words, man.
When y'all finish,
I
I
need
want
everybody
to play
to
a video
know.
when y'all finish.
Yeah, I need everybody to know Roger ain't looking for no D at all. Okay, no D at all. So don't come at me with no extra D. Period. Okay, and that's just real talk. Now we got two new guys up, Shark Sims, and we got Bad Black Gamer. So I'm gonna go ahead and let them get the mic. You got it, my brother. You got it. Shark, you first. And Bad Black Gamer, don't get bullied, man. As soon as Shark stop, you jump on in there. Don't be scared of these guys. Okay, don't be scared of these guys.
Damn,
All
I
right,
was
go
gonna
ahead,
pass
Shark.
it to Mad Black Gamer because I gotta do something real quick. But you said we be getting bullied, so I definitely know how. But yeah, Black Gamer, do your thing. I need like 10 minutes. My bad, fellas.
No problem, no problem. We'll just jump in when you're ready, brother. All right, go ahead, Bad Black Gamer.
All right. Good morning, fellas. Hopefully everything, happy, salutes to the chat and everything. And hopefully my sound's coming in good. I'm gonna be real quick with it. I ain't gonna be long winded with it. First of all, I want to back up what Euro said. I think there was like a switch like in the 90s. Like 'cause I remember back in the 90s where, you had like the spring break girls going wild tapes back in the day. You remember back in the 90s and late 80s, and it was all white girls flashing and doing all that stuff and things of that nature. And it was like the white girls were looked at as being like the whores of the world. And I think somewhere around that time when hip hop took over and you start having shows like Bad Girls Club and all that stuff, that's when I think black women started to embrace twerking and all that stuff. And I think that's kind of when the image changed, where black women kind of took over the image of being the 304s of the world. But when you really look at it, like there's not too much different from how white women carry themselves and how black women carry themselves. There's certain little things, but not too many differences. I do remember going back in college and white girls like busting it wide open, like especially like freshman and sophomore year. But the thing is, by like senior year, by the time it comes around graduation, they was looking for like a husband to get married to. They was getting their degree and they was trying to get that ring. Towards the end of college. So the college experience was different, whereas black girls, like, they was just trying to live, they were still trying to have hot girl summer, and all the other stuff and go get jobs so they can have more hot girl summers and things of that nature. But the last thing I want to kind of just add and bring out is like, if you do date a black woman, you do have to ask them, have they ever dated a guy that went to jail or been locked up before? Because that's in our community that happens a lot. Women tend to date, guys that have been compromised or, guys that have been in the joint, and like, it almost sometimes seems like they favor those guys to a certain extent because of, I guess, they've been compromised situation. But that is something that you do need to ask a woman. Does she have like any history, dating a guy? Because I've talked to women and they've told me flat out they got, they say, I got married to a guy that was in jail. And I was like, was he in jail before you got married to him, or what, did you get married to him before he went to jail? And they'd be like, no, I met him when he was after the fact. And I'm like, man, that's wild to me. But yeah, that's all I want to put in today. I'll go ahead and lay back and let you guys talk about it.
All right, I want to jump in real quick and say shout out to the Great Black Reset. He says sexual liberation has destroyed their ability to be productive wives and girlfriends. I'm going to say I disagree. I think people just simply made a choice because every woman didn't choose to do that.
Facts.
Every woman had that choice. There was every woman in America at least had that choice, and everybody didn't choose to do it. So people just made choices. It's just black women gravitated toward that more than other women did. It is what it is.
I'm agreeing with you. I didn't type the whole thought. They chose their sexual liberation. Their sexual liberation is the most important thing to them. So when they say they don't need a man,
All right, now
and
y'all trying to bully. Y'all trying to bully it. See, that's what Roger was talking about. All right, how y'all doing?
Well, no, I just want to say something after him though. That's it.
Yeah, I was about to go all the way in with it. Happy Tuesday to the panel. Thanks for letting me up, Roger. The clips that you gave, they was kind of like confusing to an extent because at one point it was saying like 1 in 10, but then it said 1 in 6 black women. But I think y'all missed one thing. The black women are like the largest lesbians in the thing. So they're
let me say real quick, Shark. Just say real quick to give certain context because I know I don't really want to jump on people's opening statements. If y'all look at the years those videos were posted, like it'll say like 10 years, then it'll say like 6 years, then it's like 3 years. Like, so it was like over time, it progressively got worse over time. But go ahead. That's what was going on there though.
Yeah, so like you like the training guy, I said, but the women they're having sex with each other more than they having sex with us to a certain extent. You know what I mean? So you got to take that into account. And I said the biggest in the world because they're traveling, doing all kinds of things. They're getting flown out, doing this and doing that. And the comparison with the white girls and the black girls, the white girl, I think it's more of a class thing when it comes to the comparison with them. But in our community, the high class black girl is acting like the low class black girls. Like if you look at all of these Reverend Run's daughters, like they're daughters of a prominent rap star, like one of the most prominent rap stars, who happens to be a preacher. And look at the guys they're messing with. You know what I mean? And messing with multiple guys. So I think they literally took over that mantle of the hoes in the world. And then as far as the girls going wild, I think that was more of a psyop of white men putting white women on blast to where the point of they had to sit their ass down. They was like, hold up, I don't want to look like this, and they sat down.
You know, I want to say something real quick. Y'all missing the point.
Well, hold that thought. I'm gonna say this: the correct bad black gamer, because he said all when he was talking about the girls going wild. I'm pretty sure it wasn't all white women on there. I'm pretty sure if you looked at them tapes, somebody other than white women with flashing titties and all kinds of other stuff too. So my thing is, y'all, we don't want to use no all because this, and I'm not trying to say it's an insult to bad black gamer, but it's not intelligent to use all if you don't know all fits the into the whatever you're presenting. And I know it was multiple Girl Going Wild's tapes. I haven't seen them all, so I'm pretty sure it had to be somebody other than the black girl that was getting down during spring break and all the other stuff that they filmed. So let's not misrepresent either. Let's not misrepresent. All right, go ahead with your thought, usual business.
All right. See, the thing is, like I keep telling you, like for me, I guess because I'm more cool with it. Like I said, I'm one of them folks who can look into the abyss and and not blink. So that maybe that's just me. So, but the reality is, bro, I think what somebody said, quote unquote, they wasn't whoring like that. No, they've been whoring like that necessarily. Right? You just didn't quote unquote have the numbers to back it, right? When you whoring in your small village, this is what I'm saying, right? We all know what the hoe in the small village is, right? Quote unquote necessarily, right? But the reality, they were still hoeing necessarily, right? You just didn't know. Like when quote unquote, when the milkman came by, that's when you figured out, right? When quote unquote, the baby came out with orange, red hair stepchild shit. You know what I'm saying? Then you figured out, right? The reality was it's not that quote unquote these women became virtuous or anything. They were already got see what I'm saying?
You're misinterpreting. But you got to think.
My bad. When I say something, it's always interruption, bro. Right? The reality is this.
I mean, I thought you had made your point. I mean, you got another point to make, or
I was speaking your point. No, what I was saying was simply this, right?
No, the reality, literally made your point.
Well, I got after Uru makes his point.
All right, cool. Well, but basically, what I'm saying is simply like this, right? At the end of the day, is nothing quote unquote really changed that more often is the fact that they have more access to the internet. The world is more quote unquote connected, and you actively can actually keep track of stuff. That's the only grand difference. Because when you whored out necessarily, you was a hoe in Florida, you had to move to Georgia. You was a hoe in New York City, you had to move to the South. You was a whore in the South, you had to move to the North. That's the only thing that really changed necessarily, right? It's just that you now have the ability to track it more often.
Well, look, the point I'm making is I first of all, I'm not making an argument about the morality or character of women per se. I'm saying there's a basic logistical difference between encountering 5 men and 500 men. So yeah, both women may be equally whorish by nature, but one of them is going to bear much more of a harsher result of her whorish nature by the logistics of her ability to encounter assortments of men. I rarely make moral. Let me just make this broad statement about my view of women. I rarely make moral or ethical statements about women because I don't put much stock in it. I tend to look at them as to opportunity and logistics. What's the likelihood of this occurring by virtue of the situation you're in, the environment they're in? Period. Because I would generally agree that all things being equal, they're all to some degree going to behave the same way, and that's regardless of race. I mean, I don't get very much upset with the behavior of black women because I know it's all environmental, and I know it's all based on the specific logistics of being a black female in America versus being a white female or Latina female or whatever. Those are very different situational and logistical situations. And so their behavior is going to be different, and even how they appear. Now, you guys mentioned the girls gone wild thing. They came hard at those dudes for mentioning that girl gone wild thing because they wanted to preserve the image and the reputation of black females. They destroyed those guys who did those videos. Go back
You
and
mean
look
white
at it.
females?
And they did that because they didn't want America to think of white women as being hoes. That's why they did that. It wasn't
Yep.
because white women wasn't hoes. We don't want America to think they hoes.
Yeah.
Now,
Well, I never
America
said
don't
that
have
That's
that
what they
similar
were doing.
motivation about America don't have that similar motivation about preserving the reputation of black women. So then it's easier to make the black female the Jezebel. Now, of course, they're not helping it at all. They're not helping it at all. They're not helping themselves at all collectively. That we agree with. But that don't mean necessarily that they're any more lascivious than white females. And again, if you spend enough time around white American females, I can't speak about the Europeans or whatever. But if you spend enough time around white female, you're not going to believe that they are necessarily more slutty than black women as a group. You're not going to believe that.
Yeah,
Now
true.
think about this,
Well,
Uru. When they was having
hold,
girls
hold
going
fast,
wild,
sir. Hold fast. 'Cause see, my thing is, see, now we starting to get derailed by trying to compare who's the biggest host, which really ain't the subject
Exactly,
of the
bro.
show. The issue is black women are a health
But
risk.
you guys have been saying that. You guys have been saying that for a minute now.
No,
You
no,
guys were saying. I mean, I'm responding to what was said.
and I'm not saying you're wrong, but what all I'm saying is the what I'm presenting is black women are a health risk that black men really need to consider in general. Now, again, just like I said earlier, I'm not saying you treat another woman differently. If you understand what you need to do for a black woman, you know what you should do for any other woman. You don't just drop something because she's not black. Black women should give you the best training to make sure you don't get messed up with any woman. Because if you got to think all the stuff you got to do because she black, well, if you take that with any woman, you should be okay. So I'm not saying anybody's wrong. That's not what I'm arguing. And I do understand that they start doing this comparison thing. But my thing is, I don't want to use the rest of the show where it's just about comparing who's the biggest. So black men are going to deal with black women more than anybody else. So therefore, they're going to be the biggest threat to black men. Even if they are hoeing at the same level, they'll still be the black man's biggest threat. That's all I'm saying. So, I hope that makes sense to y'all.
but wouldn't the most promiscuous females be the ones with the highest STD rates?
Which they don't like math, bro. They don't like math, bro.
No, not necessarily. Not necessarily. Not
All right.
necessarily, because
Well,
it depends on the population. It depends on the population of men and the environment you're in. Now, because a lot of this could be women just sleeping with that same small group of dudes. I mean, you have a lot of instances where black women. You have a lot of instances where virgin black women got
Virgin?
AIDS. That's happened a lot. Yes.
no, that has happened. I've heard
Yes,
stories of that.
that girls their first boyfriend, they got AIDS.
I've heard that, but
That
we
happened.
didn't take.
And that
But,
does happen.
but we don't take into account. And I wanted to say this, but all right, while they was doing girls going wild, you guys do remember we was doing Freaknik. We just ain't have the cameras and we ain't have access to get shit on TV. They was wilding and Freaknik, Black Bike Week, all of that.
I mean that's true. That's true. But like I said, I didn't want to turn this into a comparison between who's the biggest host. What I'm saying is black men need to consider black women as a health risk in general, which is something that we don't do. No black man looks at black women and say, you know what, they kind of a health risk. Who said that ever? Who said that ever? Let's just be realistic. Who said
You can get an STD. You could die from stress. You could die from the diets they feed you. Yeah, I could agree with you. I never could disagree with it.
Yeah, I mean, it's something that is hard to disagree with when you look at the facts. So what I'm saying, we don't conceptualize things this way. But Compassion and Kindness done hit the backstage, and he got something he wants us to see. So let's see what Compassion and Kindness wants to show us. He said this video of women. This video of, I guess it mean is from hashtag Dostoevsky. Maybe that's a Russian. Okay, but I don't know who that is. Okay, or this video from some Russian man, Dostoevsky or whatever. However you pronounce his name.
Yeah, famous. Yeah, he's very famous Russian writer.
Dostoevsky.
Dostoevsky.
Okay, I'm gonna say he that Russian. But let's go ahead. Let's see what he got to say. Let's see what he got to say. Compassion and Kindness. Let it ride. Let it ride.
Revealed something crucial about female psychology that society worked hard to conceal. Women's political opinions weren't based on genuine conviction, but on social positioning. They had supported revolutionary causes not because they believed in justice, but because it was fashionable among the intellectual class. The moment supporting those causes became costly, their true priorities emerged. Dostoevsky began to see that women were essentially practical creatures, driven by survival instincts that overrode any capacity for genuine loyalty. They formed attachments based on what men could provide: status, resources, protection, excitement. When a man could no longer deliver these benefits, the attachment dissolved like sugar in rain. The intellectual prisoners had made a fatal error. They had projected their own capacity for abstract loyalty onto women who were incapable of such feelings. They had assumed women could love ideas, principles, or men independent of immediate benefits. This assumption had led them to misinterpret female behavior entirely.
All right, shout out to you, brother. Shout out to you. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you for sharing that. And I'm gonna say shout out to Gregory Scotland, who said, Roger, you might find now he meant his book, Crime and Punishment, very interesting. Shout out to you. Okay, I definitely didn't know that was the same month. I definitely didn't know that. But shout out to you, Gregory Scotland. I see what you did right there, brother. I see what you did right there. And I'm still not going to put that quote-unquote respect on it. Nah, nah, he's still that Russian to me, okay? I'm going to say he's still that Russian to me. But shout out to you, brother. Real talk. Shout out to you.
Like I wanted to say something. I don't want people to think I'm like trying to be offensive in anything, right? Or disrespectful to anything. I'm just very, very tactical in the way I handle things. In the reason I'm that way, because I understand the environment that the majority of my fellow brothers are in, right? So I can have no quote unquote illusion of what I believe or what I thought I believed to be true. Main word, thought I believe, quote unquote. I believe this individual was a good individual necessarily. She really, really wasn't necessarily. I just couldn't prove it then, right? The reality is, you know what I'm saying, you live in an environment where I can actually prove the women from the 60s ain't no grand difference from them and these women. The only grand difference is one has access to the internet on their phone, the other one did not.
Exactly.
Right. So when I make my comparisons necessarily, right, the single mothers, quote unquote, right, necessarily, it's still, I think for since the 1970s, 1960s, it's been close to the same thing. It really kind of been hovering at around 60 to 70, pretty much then, right? And it didn't change. because the reality, the behavior of the individuals and their desires did not change, right? So I'm not surprised because at the end of the day, you have black women going to Jamaica, giving out STDs. They have black women on Ghana necessarily. I don't know if y'all know it, in the Gambia, also giving out STDs necessarily, right? Twerking on slave castles. These are the same groups of women, right? So the reality, if I'm smart enough to catch a pattern of behavior, right? And then I say, if I draw this shit out and I start connecting the lines, and me personally being in the medical field and reading people charts, I can tell you your average black chick is a 3 or 4. And the problem is most people don't quote unquote want to say that because they always want to look at, women through the eyes of that may be my friend, that may be my cousin, that may be somebody and so and so and so. But I don't look at women through the eyes of they can be related to me. I look at the reality of this is an animal creature that has its own mindset and beliefs, and it's going to act on those quote unquote mindset and belief if it has the ability to. And if it has the ability to be a hoe, 9 times out of 10, it's gonna be there. You live in an environment where the quote unquote your booty hole is brown. My booty hole brown song is the norm. I quote unquote Summer Walker necessarily. I've been fucking your man on the weekend, so forth and song is normal, right? So I'm not too confused if I do the math that I know I live in an environment full of hoes.
Brother, I think our biggest problem, and I agree with everything you just said, our biggest problem as black people is we do not like the truth. And if you don't want to hear it, if the doctor tells you got cancer and you don't want to hear it, you're never going to be able to fix that cancer.
Never.
Yeah. Which is why I'm presenting the fact that
I mean,
black women.
who has rejected the truth?
No, I'm not saying you in general or anybody on the panel in general. Like he said, a lot of us don't want to So I'm saying that that's one of our biggest problems. I'm not saying anyone in particular on the chat.
Yeah, I think America as a collective, especially when you regard mainstream media, they don't present truth in ways that's going to be able to touch people or people going to be able to really gravitate to. Because, just like I said earlier, that I can't trust a woman with a lunch order, let alone to tell me if she actually got some type of STD. You know what I'm saying? Nobody in mainstream media is going to say that because they understand how that could affect a mass of people. To really look at a woman and be like, yeah, how can you expect her to be honest? She won't even be honest. When she is your girl, she won't tell you she wants a sandwich. It's that petty to them. They're just not going to be honest with you whatsoever because they just don't see you as a man. They just see you as a nigga. So there's no reason to be honest with you. And that people would take that hard. People would take that very hard. I really do believe. And I'm gonna say the thing is, I'm presenting them as a health risk because I want black men to know what they're dealing with. If you're gonna deal with it, you need to know what you're dealing with. They will set you up for all kinds of stuff. They will put babies on you that ain't yours. All these things create stress in a person's life. Plus, any money that you have to give toward fighting these particular things that they do, if you end up getting beat up or shot because some black woman told a story about you, you're going to have to pay the medical bills for this type of stuff. She's not paying for this stuff. You're paying for this stuff. And when you got to pay for things, there's other things that you want to need that you can't afford to pay for because your money is blocked up in this other situation that you didn't even want to be a part of. But this is a reality. So there's direct effects on your life, and then there's indirect effects on your life that a lot of us, we don't really consider. And shout out to Compassion and Callous. He says, it's so bad. My single homies have made it, what's it, SOP? I made it so to ask a chick for her my chart before they crack. It's bad, bruh. Okay, so people on records now. Basically, that's what he said. It's so bad they want to see your record first before they.
We do that in Atlanta, bro.
Well, I mean, of all places do it, based on what I that is definitely the place to do that.
Look, listen, let me share something. Here's the truth that I share and have shared that I get all kinds of pushback on.
Real quick. He was saying standard operating procedure, the SOP. He was saying standard operating procedure. All right, shout out to you, Compassion. All right, go ahead.
This is productive black men. should not marry women that are not virgins. And guys will say, even up here on the panel, man, ain't no virgins out here, man. That's crazy. That's crazy. No, bro, it's not crazy. You got to stop rewarding hoes with marriage and children. That's where you start. That's where you start. That ain't even the end. That ain't even getting deep in the water. That's putting your toe in the water, checking the temperature. Are you a virgin? No, I'm never
No,
gonna marry you.
exactly.
Okay, let,
So,
let, me, let
so,
me say
so
this.
how do the logistics of that work though? Like,
Okay,
cause
so
then where are you going to get those virgins?
here's the logistics. They're out there. They're out there. Here's the logistics of it. The top 10% of men that are productive. I'm not talking about money. I'm talking about productive black men. The guys that are willing to travel and willing to ostracize these women. I'm telling you, those top 10% men, there are enough virgins out there
What?
for
What?
those men
What?
to start this community over.
I'm gonna stop you there because I don't do nothing with this top 10% stuff. I think that's one of the main problems in the black community. People keep worrying about this small percentage of people instead of the masses of people. What you do, I'm not saying marrying a virgin is a bad idea. I'm definitely not saying that, and I'm not saying there ain't some out there. But I am gonna say getting somebody who's still a virgin after her 18th birthday is gonna be a difficult task to find any of them, especially amongst black women. I am gonna say that. I don't think there's a
Things
whole lot of them
worth
out there.
things worth having are not supposed to be easy to get.
No, I'm not saying that ain't the truth, but it's a wife is not something that's supposed to be so hard to get in the first place when you talk about things being hard. In that type of context, wives should be all over the place. You're supposed to be able to walk into a grocery store and meet a bunch of different wives
I
who
mean,
are not married yet.
to me, the only logistics of getting a virgin bride is you go to another country and marry some 18-year-old, 17-year-old. That's the only thing that works. That don't work in America. That don't work in America.
Yeah, no,
I
let me
told you.
The societal
I told.
effect,
Listen, I
even
told.
being able to plan, even being able to make the arrangements to get a virgin wife is going to be perceived as being illegal in the United States of America because of all of what that would entail. Remember that
Now,
bullshit that Ti went through when he was trying to
you
regulate the virginity of his daughter? Don't y'all remember that?
I
Yep, I
absolutely
remember
do.
that.
You don't remember that?
Hey, y'all,
you
hold on one
hold
second,
on, hold on.
because Compassion Captain came up. I wanted him to get an opening statement in, and I don't want to start a contention about virgin women like it's a bad idea. I am not saying that getting a virgin is a bad
Well,
idea.
give me 5 seconds. 5 seconds.
Go.
I told you, including the guys on the panel, you're gonna give me a bunch of pushback. This is why we're losing.
Yep.
no.
This is
No.
why we're losing.
Well, that's why I'm trying to do it where it's not going to be a bunch of pushback. I'm just saying, from a numbers perspective, there will be some issues with trying to get a birth. And what I was only push back you on is saying something for top 10% of men. I think all that top 10% rhetoric has destroyed people, even when it comes to social media, because so many people, and I'm gonna just keep it real, so many people happen to hear Kevin Samuels and they don't know anything, so they just repeat stuff that sound like him. And they ain't really even thought about what's going on from a societal standpoint. That's why people keep talking about this top 10. And I'm not saying that's what you're doing. I'm saying that is a general thing that I've noticed around social media. People ain't putting no real thought into the issue of what's going on between black men and black women. So all they really can do is repeat a guy that got popular. They don't know anything and they don't think about nothing. And they just say stuff because they want talking points and they want to go viral. And that's it. They ain't having no real conversations. And I've said it already myself, and I just don't like to call names, but I told y'all, I listen to bits and pieces of people's stuff, and most content creators are trash. The people that's in this area, they trash. They talking about nothing for the most part. Okay, they have no real thoughts behind anything that they present, and it sticks out to me very quickly. It don't take me a long time to figure out these people don't put no thought into what they say. I get that. I just don't call them out by name because I don't need to do that. And I understand people just out here hustling for money at the end of the day. Okay, but a lot of them, their content trash for real. It is what it is. And I'm talking about people who dealing in things like relationships. Most black folks making relationship content are trash. It is what it is. And they can get mad at me, but that's not going to stop you from being trash. Being mad at me don't stop your content from being trash. It just is what it is. Okay. But like I said, it's not a bad idea to get a virgin. But there is a legitimate thing about in an American context, because I've said this many a time before I even met you, Great Black Reset. If you want a virgin, unfortunately, you're looking at children. That's the reality in America. When you want a virgin, you are legitimately looking at children at that particular point in time.
Well,
So I am not against the virgin idea. I just know most of us ain't gonna be able to come up with no virgin because they're not making it until their 18th birthday as virgins. And that's just what it is.
No,
But Compassion Kaz, I want you to get your word in.
Yeah.
So go ahead, my brother.
No, and I understand what's good, fellas. I understand. I get switching. Preferring virgins is the quickest way between 2 points as far as a solution. But it's structurally not possible to do it that way. Like Uru said, or I'm backing up Uru. No, first of all, we can't concoct solutions that humans have never deployed. Like black men trying to solve our problems, we got to try not to concoct solutions humans have never deployed in the history of humanity. Male chastity and men being chaste has never in the history of humans predated the women being chaste. That's why every society manages the women's sexuality, because they're the gatekeepers, and you can't expect the men unless you're gonna socially engineer sexuality out of your men so they can actually police themselves. That's never been done. That's not how no society does it, and that's not how black men are going to do it. And you can't. So and we can't suddenly import a bunch of virgins. So good luck finding a virgin. And yeah, the only practical solution is to go to another country to do that. But it's even structural issues with that. So I get why people think that's the solution, but it's the conclusion is a little bit more gloomy. It's not really when you got your women at such a low state as we do from a structural standpoint, that they're openly promiscuous. There is no virgins anymore. You can't suddenly have the society of males only mess with virgins and that's going to switch it. That's not how it ever worked. So I'm not sure how you put that genie back in the box. I don't think any society's let it slip this far in human history. So I'm not sure any society has put it back in the box. They usually just burned to the ground and then had to restart. So that's what I'll say to start out.
That's usually historically how it went down. That usually inevitably there's a reason why lasciviousness always predates the fall of every society historically. I mean, the things that you would have to do to recover it, they would be constitutional, fellas. Your shit would not be legal for you to do it. They're in between the HIPAA laws and the DV or the IPV or the child abuse and all that. You guys to get locked up trying to keep these girls virgins. That's just the way it is.
And the custody laws. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
How you gonna keep her a virgin if you ain't even got custody over?
Yeah, we're not even in a position to socialize the next generation of girls into being virgins.
Yeah. Now, I want the Great Black Reset to understand. I'm not giving pushback. I think having a virgin is a great idea. I really do believe that deep in my heart that a virgin is the right way to go. But the thing is, it's not a mass solution. That's all I'm saying. It's not a mass solution for men in America. Exactly. Unless the masses of men are willing to go outside this country, get women and bring them back. Because if you're gonna stay where she at, then you're just gonna have America losing men.
The virgin solution is not a bad solution. It's just the first obvious solution, and then it just structurally doesn't scale. Like that's the obvious solution. Let's just get a bunch of virgins. But yeah, in the case we're in, we got millions of whores. So
I want to ask a question. Do you know? Do any of y'all know the population of Africa right now?
No, I don't know the population of Africa.
Can anybody hear me?
Yeah, was it?
I'm saying I don't know the no, I have no idea what that number is. I know it's big, but I don't know as a continent. No, I don't know how many.
I think it's close to 2 billion, maybe. I think. What is it?
Yeah.
Like it's about 2 billion and rising as we currently speaking, right? See what I'm saying? Do you know
Yeah.
the population of black men in America?
42
What?
What's
million.
about around 40-ish, 42 million or something like that?
See what I'm saying? We're gonna take out the quote unquote the young boys. That's all the 5-year-old, 10-year-old, 20-year-olds or whatever down. Let's say let's put the 15-year-olds and down, right? And then let's go ahead and emulate the 50-year-olds and up. This is gonna, no offense to Black Haru, see what I'm saying? No offense, but cross that out, right? So then after that, this is got about we'll take out the folk that quote unquote got some shit also. So let's go ahead and cut them out, bro. But realistically, you talking about really getting like 5 million. Really, realistically, bro. And like BGS said, and other folks said, and I've been to the continent.
Bro, I
Me
don't know.
about it.
He breaking up.
Now, granted,
You were going in and out. You were going in and out. So you said something about BGS and then we didn't hear you.
say is basically that I did the math, BGS did the math, and other folks smarter than me also did the math, right? The reality is, if you want to quote unquote
All right, y'all. I just think what he basically saying is there's enough versions to go around if you're going to go to Africa. That's what I believe he's saying because he's going in and out. But I believe that's what he's saying. I'm going to say shout out to No Placeholder. Appreciate the super chat, my brother. He says only marrying V cards would still lead to the downfall of the country. You would still have 90% or more of unmarried women in the West. That would be true because if we're gonna just deal with women who still have their virginity, yeah, you're gonna have a bunch of women who just ain't gonna be able to get married to anybody at that particular point. So that is a reality. And unless we change our approach to women, those women don't go anywhere. They're just still here. They're just not virgins. And then now they're not anybody's wife. So there's still a problem that needs to be solved at the end of the day. But again, y'all, the show is about Black women being a health risk. Okay, the virgins ain't the health risk that we got to worry about. Okay, if you get a virgin, great for you, fantastic. I don't see why there should be pushback on an idea like that, but I am going to think about things from a realistic standpoint. I understand based on human behavior why that's not a workable plan for the average Black man, why pushback will come, but I ain't going to worry about that right now. But I tried to make it where we don't have that type of pushback because I think it takes away from the point of today's show, which is that Black women are a health risk, period. Now, the thing is, the health risk can be resolved without virgins, okay? Without everybody seeking a virgin. At the end of the day, you can just simply hold women to a standard and stop worrying about women who can't meet your standard. I think what Black men do is that we want to give women breaks for not meeting our standards. If you want a wife, have a standard what your wife has to be, and simply make it be that standard. You hold on to that standard. Now, I'm not saying Black men aren't doing that to a certain degree, because truth be told, subconsciously we know better. Which is why I believe that you have about 75% of Black women that are not married now, because subconsciously we know better. And when we deal with these women, we will not make them our wives because a lot of us, we understand they're not good enough to be a wife. It's somebody listening to this 9 times out of 10 been living with his woman for 8 years and he still ain't married her because he knows she ain't good enough.
But Rod, you said 74% of them are unmarried, right? Yo, that one of them videos literally said 50% of Black women have herpes.
exactly.
I mean, if
That's what I was
that's
trying to
the case,
say, bro.
the
Hold on,
only
let me say.
go ahead.
Right. At the end of the day, bro, you have about
and
no.
hold on,
At the end of the day, hold on.
real
I didn't get to finish, bro. I didn't get to finish like I was originally saying.
You didn't let me
No,
finish.
Shark was the person that started. So let Shark go, then you go.
So 50%, we're not even counting the ones who didn't get tested.
That's why I said 60. I was the one who said that earlier.
I'm gonna say 75%. It's crazy out here.
Okay,
There you go.
What I'm trying to tell y'all is simply this. But when you do the math, bro, you only need to get about 5 million, maybe 6 million women, bro. If you add in the fact when you go to the continent, bro, there's about 1 trillion women necessarily. You got more than enough. Adding the women in the Caribbeans and South America and stuff on and so on, right? We're not even at. We're just not even going at that, right? So at the end of the day, you can quote unquote get me women, right? The question is, are you willing to sacrifice these ones that's here? And the reality that we keep coming back to is, I'm not willing to sacrifice Keisha to quote unquote to have a better community. And at that point, then Keisha is gonna run the community because at the end of the day, she got you in the vice grip and she know it.
But your
Well,
next, but the next problem is: are you going to bring these? You're going to get 5 million African women, right? Are you bringing them to America, or are you staying in Africa with them?
Now, you asked me to decide for me personally or for the group now, because it's different for
well, no,
what I
I
would
mean,
do and for the group.
the thing is that's a question everybody who does it got to answer for themselves, and that's why I said that you a lot of men just going to end up leaving America. Period. Just real talk. Because if you want a virgin or if you think you want a better woman, you're gonna have to get up out of here. Real talk.
Yeah.
Because a lot of folks don't want the fight that come with having a better woman here. There is going to be a fight of having a better woman here. I mean, you see on the internet right now, if a black woman says kind words about her black husband, it ain't even got to be a random dude. If she said about her husband, black women gonna go in on her. It is a
Exactly.
fight to have a good woman in this country,
But
But
hold on,
Roger, even
especially
in the
amongst
other
black women.
countries, my fault, compassion.
let me ask this question: doesn't Africa as the continent have the highest rate of HIV though?
Yes,
No, no, no.
Yeah,
I'm saying the highest rate. What continent has the higher rate than Africa?
yeah.
Yeah,
Maybe,
Pacific. I
maybe.
think I can't say I can't say, but I don't know the specific continent. But I can't say because a lot of these things don't get reported, bro.
Right, right.
that's so now, and
You
then
want to
y'all
be
have to
honest?
remember they have electricity in Africa. I'm seeing them doing skits in Africa where they uh, this shit. I don't. The shit didn't spread so far. I don't like Uru said. We had that point of no turning back. It's a wrap.
All right. Well,
I'm
I'm
trying to
gonna
say.
everybody gonna have to hold it there because truth teller then came up. We
What
got
about me? He's been like I've
oh
been
dang,
here.
Inspired Truth broadcast. Yes, we ain't even got you in.
That's
My bad,
twice.
brother.
That's
My
two,
bad.
Roger. That's two.
My bad. My bad. My apologies. My apologies. So let Inspired Truth get in here so Truth Teller can get in here. You know what I'm saying? I ain't got two people upset with me. So Inspired Truth, you got it, my brother. You have it.
All right. So I hope I'm
And,
coming
and
in
matter of
loud and
fact,
clear.
just because you said something, I'm gonna give a slight extension to make sure you got time to get out everything on your chest at the end of the day. Okay, so I'm hooking you up now. So now you can't hold this one against me. All right, go ahead.
All right, I'll take it. All right, so salute to you, Raj. Salute to the panel. Peace to the brothers in the chat. Yeah, that's some of the folk in the chat that when y'all brought up that 10%. Hell, there's people in the chat right now that are in the top 2% actually. Earners and whatnot. But a lot of these things that we talk about kind of come together and they're interconnected and they're interrelated. What we really want is what you just kind of like touched on, which is basically a woman that will work on our program. And we're doing like these extra kind of like proxy arguments about who's a virgin, who's not a virgin. And all of that really just kind of gets back down to archetype. And it's this prospective candidate, this prospective woman, perhaps somebody that sees me as their archetype and that will actually follow my lead and that will actually work along with me. Like those are the actual things that we actually want. Now, in terms of looking for that in the continent, that's one way to go if you can actually find the time to do that. Unfortunately, many of us, no matter what you earn, like whether you're up there or not, like you could be spectacularly wealthy, but chained to your job, and you can't freaking move around like that. So there's gonna be a whole lot of different ways of trying to solve the same problem that we're coming across that we're going to have to actually enact. That whole thing about, and kind of getting back in on that whole thing of virgin, because it kind of, I think at some point we ended up kind of talking about the men versus talking about the women. Like, just keep in mind and bear in mind that men and women are valued for very different things. So a competent man is valued by women.
and an innocent woman is valued by men. Like we're not in any type of way the same. And a lot of the smoke that we'll get will be for a tiny portion of men. So I guess I'll kind of like land my plane over there. And there's so many things that came up and so many things that came up that are interrelated. So if anything comes back up again, hopefully I can chime back in.
One thing before you go, like right now in between, what is it? Mexico and Panama, right? Off. I mean, that's actually out there looking for dudes. Literally crying. Who's that? We here. We available. Where y'all at? Out there. $1 to leave, bro. $1, bro.
Okay, your signal's getting bad, brother. Just so you know, you're going in and out. You're going in and out. But I'm gonna give Truth Teller the flow because Truth Teller's here. And what I'm gonna do is I'll give a 15-minute extension to make sure Inspired Truth broadcast is okay. I'm gonna give a 15-minute extension. But Truth Teller, you got the flow.
Hey, gentlemen, I'm sorry I missed last week's show about how to identify hoes. I was listening. I'm sorry. I should have been there. I didn't fulfill my responsibilities in the community on how you identify
That's
hoes.
what it was. It was taking with them.
So I am going to state what I was.
Gotta say real quick. I was definitely surprised you missed that show. I was definitely surprised.
I was in meeting, Roger. I'm literally in meetings with my earbud in, going off at the desk, but I'm in a meeting with all kinds of executives, and I can't say nothing, Roger. It was torture. It was utter torture. So I would just say what I would have said in that show. I've said it before. A hoe is any woman that has sex with more than one man. And she can get out of that status if she gets married, but that only works once. The devil is a lie. Please, y'all, tell me y'all watched that third video with that doctor talking about how black women are the majority of the hoes getting infected. But they use condoms and protection more often.
Yo, that was a bunch of malarkey. She was double talking and all kinds of shit.
Listen, man, I done talked to used car salesman B. She got them niggas beat. How does that even make sense? That these hoes is out here talking about they use the most protection, but it's the arena that they're in that causes them to be affected. So you mean they still having unprotected sex with hood niggas? Is what she was trying to say without saying it. How do you the black men? So just so y'all know, in all these reports, I don't know if y'all noticed, they don't actually say the percentage of black men that get infected. They'll just say that black men and Hispanic men are disproportionately infected. So 32% of niggas got it, but 60-some-odd% of you hoes got it. I don't think it's the arena. Well, it is the arenas that y'all mess around in, but I don't think it's the men's fault if half of them niggas got it and you double them numbers that you got it. So, we got to pay attention to the evils that's coming out of here. And she was such a nice-looking doctor in her little doctor coat, sitting there, seeming like she's speaking the truth to help people, and she goddamn lying for hoes. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. She upset me.
What I do want to say, the thing is, you got to be smart enough to know what's being implied. She technically is telling the truth. It is because the arena that black women are having sex in. The unfortunate part is people think that's a black man arena. No, that's an all men arena. If the men ain't got it to give it to you, they're getting it from other men and bringing it back over to our community.
Hold on, wait,
It
Rod.
is what it is.
Wait, Rod. We don't want to spread fake narratives. It says 60% of the women, black women tested, are positive for STD.
But that's what they were saying in the video. That's what they were saying in the video. You know, and all
I think
I'm
that's
saying
regional. Actually, though, I
Yeah,
think that's an area thing, not a
That's the
whole.
whole
Not
country.
every black would be. Oh, there was
I
a whole
I don't
country.
know if she
Yeah.
technically I don't know if she meant her area or she believed what was coming up in the test that she's involved with. I think she was just talking about the testing that she's done and what she's been involved in, what she has seen. Because no test is for 100% of everybody. You know what I'm saying? So they just go with the numbers they got. But at the end of the day, I think the important thing is for black men to understand the arena that they're having sex in is beyond just black men. If the men ain't got it to give it to you, that means somebody else gave it to you, and you bringing it back to the men that's yet to be infected. And that's what's going on. They try to present it as if black men are giving this out to people. We
Roger,
not. We're
Roger,
getting infected by the fact that they're having sex with all these men
And
who got it from
that
somewhere else.
that was famously confirmed by the DJ Pope thing.
exactly. Yep. And you
Oh
gotta remember,
yeah.
they out here scissoring each other.
I was finna say that too, Shark. They got to
They
take into
out.
account black women are having sex with each other at a high rate too.
So
So
if they are like, they might not even be
Hey,
getting it from other men. They might
that's
literally
not
be getting it
From
from
other
them
men, bro.
niggas in jail and then passing it on to each other at those damn
that's not called. That's
pajama
called
camps.
being fluid, shark. That's called.
Being fluid.
That's not homosexuality, shark. That's called being fluid. Sexually fluid.
Yeah,
Okay,
like
guys.
Like
so.
Let me say something right quick. Okay. Uh, Truth Teller missed the show, so he has minus 200 street cred because his whole sense
Yeah,
didn't tingle
I'm losing
well
this
enough.
year, man. 2026 is rough, man.
Yeah, you the
Damn.
minister.
Oh
You the
man,
minister of
for you,
holeology.
bro.
You
Man,
supposed to
yo,
be there.
yeah. And also, I'm here to tell you right now, ain't nothing but hoes out here. Okay. I hear y'all want virgins. Yes, but when you get your virgin and you bring her back in this corrupt environment, it will also corrupt her. Nothing stays pure in a corrupted environment. Even us who are speaking right now, we're not pure. We are also corrupted, maybe to various degree, but we are just corrupted people too. So
you're right.
when you get your virgin and you bring her back here, problem. Your mama gonna be on her telling her what she should not do for you.
Mm-hmm.
Your sister is going to start looking at her sideways. Your sister is going to introduce her to her dirty dick friend, trying to have her cheating on with her male friend, quote unquote. So for me, the solution is I'm gonna say it plainly. I just want me some jungle pussy. I'm gonna go into the jungle, get me one, and stay there. I want one who doesn't know.
Doesn't
She doesn't
lotion.
know anything. She doesn't know what electricity is. She doesn't know what iPhone is. She doesn't know anything. I'm gonna get me this jungle coochie and stay there in the
Yeah.
jungle with her if I truly want a wife. But since I'm
And
not,
I just want.
I'm not.
and remember the first video, that lady's literally trying to pass it on to somebody else because she out here talking about she looking for love.
Yeah, that's nasty
like,
work. That's
That's
like,
nasty work,
nasty work.
literally. There,
That's
but
mayonnaise. That's
like
mayonnaise, ketchup, and mustard together.
Callus. I have a question. Did you? I don't know if you saw that video where they had this one stripper chick, right? But she got infected by her job. We ended up figuring out it was a white man eventually, right? And she said she went out and it
Yeah,
seemed like it
yeah.
was everybody, but it was just specifically black. Did y'all remember that?
Yes, yeah. You breaking up. You must be in Africa on your phone because you breaking up heavy.
On my side working out though. I'm working out on my side. I'm
Oh,
trying to stay healthy. You know what I mean? I can't be slaying this pussy with a gut belly. You know what I mean?
I ain't mad
So
at you. I ain't,
I'll let you
fair
that
enough.
y'all right? Yeah, I hear like I keep saying it, but like you have women out here actively trying to infect people and destroy other people, bro. Point to tell folks, bro, like trash here, bro. Like for me, my mindset is I don't have the problem with I'm gonna live on another new society because as I look at it, any place is better than here, bro.
Yeah.
Give me
Yeah,
a
I mean,
place that's
even
quote unquote
Well,
realistically. What place is better
you
than? No. Realistically, bro, what place is worse than here? That's not an active war zone, bro.
okay? So hold on. I don't know if you know this or not, but Brad been doing the same thing over there that he was doing over here. Now over there, ain't nobody getting tested like that. And when I say over there, I'm not just talking about Africa. I'm South America too. Brad cutting up. He been cutting up for decades.
yeah, that's
So
true.
I know, we want to seem like they clean out. No, they not actually. In the 90s, there was the
and,
infestation over there. So come on, man.
Well,
Think
but
that
since
just
and
stopped.
if
Brad
we're going to
going
talk
out
about Africa and be
and
fair, there were civil wars, man.
Brad is going out in the bush too. And
Oh yeah.
Brad ain't waiting until they right.
He not.
Damn,
Getting back to the US and
Uru
getting
with the
back to where we
reality.
are here, like we have to also consider the fact that like even when you win here, like I've seen it like with like friends and stuff, like there'll be a dude that gets married out of high school, ends up years later on where the chick that he's with ends up feeling the call from the streets and now they break the whole marriage up. Like even when you win here, the narrative, the indoctrination is so heavy that you still lose.
You know what it is? You know what it is, fellas? If we zoom out, this is the curse of the canary in the coal mine. Because we're so far ahead, because we know we can see this environment clearer than anybody in this nation, especially us in this space who talk about these things and draw these dots, connect these dots. There ain't no solution. We can, because we basically seeing in the future, because we already know, like y'all pointing out, let the rest of the world get industrialized. Let Africa catch up. Let South America catch up. They're gonna have the same exact situation Japan had, we have, South Korea has. We already know what's gonna happen. So, and we trying to get ahead of a problem that we trying to get ahead of a zombie apocalypse that's already spreading to the other continent.
Well, I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna read this super chat, y'all. I mean, there's just things you got to deal with, and I've said plenty of times. Sometimes you just at a place in life where there are no good choices in front of you. But I'm going to say this, y'all: is being with a virgin a good idea? Absolutely. But you do have to understand we are so far gone that I'm gonna use myself as an example. I've told y'all this beforehand. Not that it was a good idea. But yes, I did start having sex before I was 18. Okay. I believe it was the first the time, like the summer between 8th grade and freshman year is when or was it before that? It was early. It was early. I'm not saying that that's a good thing. That's not a good thing that I was doing it early. But to this day, I ain't never been with a virgin. It ain't that I even want to, quote unquote, be with a virgin. It's just that every girl I've talked to didn't happen to be one. Not even the first person to give me some. She wasn't a virgin either. And it was her idea. So, yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure I'm not the only guy in that scenario. You know what I'm saying? So I done been decades that ain't been with no virgin. Yet. Ever. You know what I'm saying? And I have never turned down virgin pussy. So don't be like, well, y'all, you probably just turned it. No, I ain't never turned down no virgin pussy. It just ain't all the women I talked to, none of them was virgins.
That's why I asked about the logistics, because it's one thing to assert a standard, but like logistically, again, other than going, I don't know, 500 miles outside of Nairobi, in a hut village of about 15 people, where are you finding this untouched female that's legal for you to touch? Where are
There's
you
an
finding
answer.
her?
There's an answer to the logistical question, but it's being co-opted by your brothers up here in order to use it as part of the Ghana-centric hive mind to say, "Oh, it's impossible."
Where is it? So
Hold on. Before anybody else say
Yeah, I
something
technically
else,
gave. I technically said it.
before anybody say something else, Shout out to Officer Fran Smith. He said Keisha, the bioweapon, affects infant mortality. I'm gonna say he meant to say rate too. Now I'm gonna say shout out to Officer Fran Smith. I'm gonna say at least in that case, them children didn't have to live this life. That's all I can say. That's the only bright side that I can say for something like that. At least in that case, them kids didn't have to come into this world and see this stuff that we see, because it's some of this stuff is just terrible at the end of the day, y'all. Now we at the 309-minute mark. We're gonna close out at the 3-hour 15-minute mark. Great Black Reset. I'm gonna go ahead and let you say your piece. I just didn't want to have the virgin argument today, but I do believe getting a virgin is a great idea. Real talk. But go ahead, brother. Go ahead.
Okay, the logistics of it is the best of us must mate with the best of us. That's just what it is. You're not gonna stop. It's just like the movie Idiocracy. You're not gonna stop idiots from having children. Guess what? The children are gonna be virgins. You teach your young men stop choosing from whores.
That
What you
sounds
do?
good, but you can't even
Nah.
tell.
Yes, you can.
That doctor
Yes, you
lady look like
can.
a but that
Yeah,
doctor lady
I'm
look
done.
like a quality
Bro,
lady.
bro, bro, you running a whorehouse. You can't tell.
No, no, I'm
Fellas,
saying that doctor lady look like an upright woman, but she out here
No, bro. No, bro.
evangelizing for hoes. So I'm just saying,
it's not even that. It's not.
see,
It's not the
Truth teller,
aesthetic.
you
It's the
talking
This
to
is
the
what I
numbers.
same
mean.
dude. You
This is
talking to
exactly
the
what I
same
mean.
dude who got a crush on Elijah
When I
McClain.
started this 15 minutes ago, I said you guys are gonna push back, and here it is.
well, here I'm gonna give you an alternative option. Find a chick who could clean her vagina properly. How about that? That's the
Yeah,
best
yeah.
you gonna be able to do, player.
Now, let me say this too. I don't see them as pushing back. The thing is the difficulty of trying to find virgins. Unfortunately, is going to be a huge problem if you are in America. You literally are going to probably have to go outside the country, because again, and I've been saying this for a long time, brother. And we even had Rael who done push for virginity a long time, and I never really said anything about it because I understand. Truth be told, I get where you're coming from, because the average man is going to reject the idea because getting a virgin is just so hard to do in the context of being inside the states. That's just a reality. Because when people have said something about getting with virgins, I have jokingly saying, now you're talking about messing with children. And I've said that as a joke, but there's some seriousness in the joke, because the seriousness is a lot of these girls don't make it to 18 while they're still virgins. It's just not happening. Okay. And I'm saying that as a person who talked to young women who are still in high school. And there's multiple women I've talked with, multiple girls I've talked to that are still girls. And I literally asked them, are your friends hoes yet? And they say, yeah. I don't even sugarcoat the stuff. Are your friends hoes yet? And
There
they
you
say,
go.
yeah. Okay. And this is girls that are literally in high school.
Middle
So
school usually.
it's unfortunate, but this is what's going on out here at the end of the day. The girls don't even
Well,
make it to 18.
let me tell you. I have a
Also,
friend who have a granddaughter. You got little girls in middle school, in elementary school, trying to trying to turn out each other. You
Thank
got
you.
9, 10, 11-year-old girls trying to turn out each other. Y'all so far behind the curve on what's going on out here. It's crazy. But see, if
Hmm.
you have children, if you have grandchildren, whatever, you know how crazy and how chaotic it is for these young people. So when you talk about a 18, 19-year-old virgin, I'm just like, okay, I'm trying to visualize how that actually happens in America. Now, if we're talking about going outside of the country, you got a whole different thing. But of course, you got different issues with that as well. But let's not pretend like it's just, well, we're making gynocratic arguments, because nobody's afraid of the virgin argument. It's just that how much are you willing to actually risk and put up and invest in? And here's the question I would ask all you men on the panel. Have y'all raised a girl to 18, 19-year-old who was a virgin?
Yes,
Because if
I
you
yes,
ain't
have.
done that,
yes,
you
yes,
Yes,
know,
I
if
yes,
have.
you ain't
yes.
done that, if you hopefully you have, hopefully you have,
Thank you.
because that would be a contribution to it. That would at least be a contribution to this to this effort of virginity, because I hear a lot of brothers proposing something that they themselves are not willing to necessarily replicate and produce and preserve. And like I said earlier, when Ti tried to do it, all kinds of hell was brought down on him
Yep.
for trying to do it with his daughter.
Here's
Now, unfortunately, that's gonna have to be the last word because I said I was gonna give a 15-minute extension, and we about to hit 15 minutes. Okay, look, I am never gonna say getting with a virgin is a bad idea. I don't think any man is actually saying that getting with a virgin is a bad idea. I think if you are an American, you have to deal with the reality that there's just not a lot of virgins available who are 18 and over, and that's all I'm really saying. It's just not a lot of them that are 18 and over. They are trying to turn each other out. And unfortunately, virgins are trying to copy hoes. They are little girls who got mamas, aunties, older cousins, people on TV, and their identity of what a woman is supposed to be is not a nice one. But that's the idea that they're copying. Hence, you don't have a bunch of virgins making it to 18. You know, so but Great Black Reset, I'm trying to make you understand. We're not saying you're wrong. We're just saying you can't do it with a mass of numbers. That's all we're saying. You can't do it in mass. That's all.
I understand. No. Wait. I understand what you guys are saying. We're gonna have this conversation backstage. The
No,
problem.
we might have it on a different show. We might have it on a different show because it's an important conversation to have, but it needs to be given some real time. You know, and we do 3 hour shows. I think that's a conversation that should put at least 3 hours in. You know, you may have to bring it up again and again and again, but I think it's a conversation worth having on air. So we're not gonna do it backstage. Okay, we not. So I'm gonna let you make a closing statement so you can get out whatever little piece you want to get off your chest. And we wrapping this up because we passed the 15 minutes already. But go ahead.
All right, my quick closing statement is we're losing this particular battle that we're talking about in this subject because as men we're quitting. We refuse to accept the fact that the standard should be the standard, and we should not be making excuses for these hoes. We making excuses for them, and we let them get away with it. Today, in this conversation, we're part of the problem, and I'm gonna end my statement there.
And I'm gonna say I disagree, but I ain't gonna fight it. I don't disagree with that, but I ain't gonna fight it because I got to bring the show to a close. But we will have this on a different show, y'all. We will have it on a different show. Okay. I appreciate everybody for tuning in. If you are new here, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Everybody, make sure y'all like this. Y'all hype up all my stuff. You're gonna get the best conversations over here. This is why I tell y'all, I got the best show on social media because we actually put real thought into this stuff. We're not just saying stuff we heard somebody say. Okay. You're gonna get realness over here, and you're gonna get things that I actually thought about over here. Best show on social media right here. Make sure you subscribe. We'll see y'all next time around. 9 a.m. Chicago time. Not where you happen to live. Chicago time. Especially to shout out to Trail Bentley. Not Joliet time, Trail. Not Joliet time. Chicago time. Y'all have a good rest of y'all day. Long live the habitual line steppers. I'm Roger. I'm right. And I'm out.